Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live. I'm Lyndsay Horne and I'm joined by James Browning tonight, who's already been stealing my chips.
Just mix them up a little bit.
We haven't even started yet. Poker Night Live is the show that brings you live Texas Hold'em 7 nights a week. We watch real games being played online for real stakes, and you get commentary and analysis from our team of experts. And it's amateur night tonight, so James is bursting with ideas and tips to help our new players improve their game. That's what we want.
We want loads of questions from you as well. You should have lots of questions. We want to hear them.
We do. As always, it's an interactive show, live and fully interactive. So you decide what we talk about. What do you want to know? What areas of your game do you want to improve on? You can send your questions through to us in the studio. Our text number, there it is on your screen. You've got to put the word poker on your message and send your question to 84222, 84222. Or you can email, and there's the address. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And if you want to find any more information about the show and about our PNL Private Members League, you can have a look at our website. There it is, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. As always, we've got cash games, sit and goes, and an MTT. It's actually a Private Members League MTT tonight, so we're going to see some regular faces. Would you be so kind, James, as to take us around our tables?
Let me escort you around the tables, Lyndsay.
Thank you very much. What a gent.
And we're starting off with a 50-cent $1 cash game. There's one empty seat there, so Lyndsay, quick, you can get a game. Now we have a $5 sit and go, and we can see that this is in the first level because the blinds are 10-20. And of course we haven't lost anyone yet. And double the price, what's that make? $10. And again, just in the early stages, first level again, 10-20. And it's green. Yes, you know what it means. It's MTT, but it's special. It's a private MTT, the Private Members Club. Sounds good.
Yes, it's going to be good to watch that. See, our regular players will have all the information about that tourney for you a bit later on. But you, Mr. Browning, have just came back from Sweden, isn't that right?
Yes, I have. I went to Stockholm.
Lovely.
And I think that's a place you would...
I'd love to go, yeah. I've never been to Sweden, but somewhere I do want to visit.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I flew to Stockholm, and then I got the Arlanda Express, which is a very fast train from the airport to Stockholm. Very impressive.
Oh, I bet.
Quite expensive.
It's supposed to be a fantastic city, though. Really clean and lovely.
It is. Even the people, they don't sell the big issue there. They sell a magazine called Situation. But even them, they look well fed and clean. It's quite amazing.
Even the beggars look posh.
No, it's pretty expensive, though. I must admit, quite expensive. I mean, you could go for if you had a single pizza in a well-known pizza restaurant, it cost you about £8. It's quite a lot, isn't it? Then taxis are mega expensive. So I cut down the cost, did a lot of walking, thought I'd keep fit.
Be healthy while you were there.
But the tournament, I was there at the Corona Casino, and it was, they put on a great tournament there. Very organised, very, very organised. I mean, I must admit, often at tournaments don't kick off on time.
Yeah.
This was incredible. Clinical to the second. Ping, and they were off. And this was a big field of about 178 players started.
Like a military operation.
Like a military operation. Also, no smoking at the tables, but in the room there, they've got this plastic corner where you can go in to have your cigarette, and in there this goes right up to the ceiling. It's fully sealed. There's 2 extractors in there sucking up the smoke, and then there's lots of smokers in there sucking up the smoke as well.
Sounds a bit scary.
It is
futuristic.
You can look in there and you can see them, and they're sort of watching the poker, and it looks like they smoke faster, so it's amazing. And then the smoke goes up here, and they're all it's amazing. But very organised. It's another part of Sweden, I think.
We'll talk a bit more about that later, and we'll find out just how well you did when you were there as well. I'm sure our viewers will be interested to know. But we're going to get to a game now. What do you fancy, James, first up?
I think let's have a look at that Private Members MTT. It would be a nice start to the evening.
Head to the table.
Here we are, and it's the green. It's the MTT. And this is the first level because it's at 10-20. How can we see that? That's at the top of the screen there. It says blinds are 10-20.
Oh, yeah.
And the players all start here with 1,500 chips. And the blinds go up every 12 minutes.
So this is a $5 entry, 50 cents to the house, and we've got 46 runners and a prize pool of $562.
Okay, and how many prizes do they give out?
We've got 5 places paid. First prize is $224, second $134, $89.82 for third place, $67.44 for fourth, and fifth place gets $44.96.
Jolly good. So 5 places to play for, so it's actually virtually 10% of the field, isn't it, gets a prize. So there we have our dealer's button there, which is behind Mushnik, or Mick, and it's a white button with a D on it. Then there's a small blind and the big blind. Pustash was a big blind, and we had one caller, Yenul, who called with ace-2 rather optimistically. And
all regular visitors to the P&L website, these boys, aren't they?
Yes, we can see a lot of the regular names here, boys and girls of the P&Lers, regular P&Lers. In fact, ask me later on, because I've got some news about a P&Ler in Stockholm as well.
Oh, really? Was there?
So I'll reveal that later in the show. Someone who's been doing very well recently.
Interesting.
So don't forget to
I won't. I want to know all about Sweden. Hopefully try and get there by the end of the year.
Okay. A little bit quiet at the moment. No one's really got much of a hand here, have they? But we've got Pustash, who's sitting with the king-queen suited in the small blind.
I don't think he's going to get a lot of action from anyone else.
Well, I don't know. He's happy enough now. He's actually behind an ace. Heads up, he would be. So he can just make up the small blind, I think. He's made a raise with it. Early stages, quite adventurous. And not my choice, that play.
No, he's now up against a pair of aces and a flush draw.
So let's hope he doesn't try and make a continuation bet, because I think he'll definitely get called by the continuation. He's made the continuation bet, and it's, no good for him. And the worst thing of all is he's hit a queen. Yeah. He might actually be tempted to carry on, and he is. And, well, that could frighten Cat Attack, because I think Cat Attack doesn't think he's got the ace. He might be worried that Pustash has got the jack, but Pustash is now just checked anyway, and there we go. And we saw that he broke the Browning rule.
Just checking.
No, the king-queen.
Yeah.
No, so therefore, he played. What have we got here? We've got a flush possible draw royal flush draw.
Oh yeah.
Ace of clubs would make a royal flush.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. I think it wouldn't have been it.
So he showed his weakness at the end there in that last hand by checking.
He did, but I think in the end, I think at that early stage in the tournament, I don't think he had to keep on making that continuation bet. Okay, he put his raise in pre-flop. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. No, there'd only been a limper in there.
Yes.
He was small blind. He could have represented. That's fair enough. I don't mind that as it happens, because no one else had raised beforehand. So his king-queen was fine. I quite like it unraised pots. It was unraised up until then. Yeah. But he then fired his continuation bet. He'd missed the flop, but he fired the continuation bet. He got called. Well, hang on.
And there was an ace on the board,
That's
so when
it.
he got called from
Clam up now, it's finished. You tried. You raised, you tried your continuation bet, it all failed. You haven't got a club. Everything's horrible out there.
And then
switch off. Switch off, don't lose any more chips. You did your best, it didn't work. Save your chips. But he did another lump of chips. He put another 600 in or something.
He did, yeah.
And that's critical to him for how many chips it left him. So I didn't like that. And also, you don't have to be so... Listen, he didn't even have to do a continuation bet in the early stages. He could have just waited to find out where he was, possibly. I wouldn't have minded that. Because it wasn't a flop he was going to like.
No.
Oops, I think Panaman Creel likes that hand. Pair of American aces, American Airlines. And Bandit there, who we believe is our lady player. With the nines, the Ninas. Now, what's Panaman going to do? Bets 80. Tickles the pot. There's 910 in there. What a weird bet.
Should that have been a lot bigger?
Well, yes, because basically you're giving people, you know, you're giving 11 to 1 to hit.
And if he then hit another 9...
Yeah, I mean, okay, he's more than that to hit the 9, but even so, for a small amount, he could actually have some implied odds because he might get paid some more money if he hit it. Yeah. But I'm saying, even at that stage, you could have had he could have probably had a little tickle at that just to see where he was once he was at that stage, just for such a small bet. He more or less... He shouldn't have been so tricky as to bet too small there. I think he should have definitely charged him more money. $180 from Bandit. Got the top pair and the middle pair. 2 pairs, very strong indeed. And Philip there has got nothing. Panaman's got the middle pair of 5s. And I don't think he's going to call for 180 because it was 180 into an 80 pot, which was a big bet for 2 pair. And I'm not quite sure why Bandit wanted to frighten him off from that so much. So maybe he was trying to represent she had less by betting more, trying to be tricky maybe.
So another table?
Yes, we're having a review of most of the players here. We're going to see some more regulars there. El Pig, Chupa, Hoik, the Geordie from Wallsend, Froggy Boy, pair of 10s. Oh, look at that. What a flop. Hoik, we haven't brought you much luck away. We've full house there for Froggy Boy. And Hoik has been hoiked out the tournament, I'm afraid.
Unlucky.
And look at that. Made a flush just to tease him. Ace flush he made. Look at that. Runner to make an ace flush. It had to be against the house, though. How cruel.
Very cruel. He must have thought he was sitting pretty there. I played against Hoyt in my last Beat the Presenter tournament.
All right. Oh, you've not... Now, what happened here? Oh, it's a rebuy tournament. That's what's happened there.
Oh, I didn't.
So Hoyt reloaded.
I'm not telling you that.
Yes, I think we got wrong-footed. We thought it was a freeze out, but there we are. Hoyt, you're not dead after all. It's good news, mate. And you took advantage of the rebuy. Rebuy means that if you do lose all your chips, as Hoyt did, good demonstration by the way, Hoyt, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you do lose all your chips, in the first period, and we'll have to check out what period the rebuys goes on for.
Because after a certain amount of time it stops, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. You're allowed to rebuy. So if you pay the same entry, this was a $5 tournament, and you get another 1,500 chips. And also, I believe they're going to have the option to add on.
Right.
Which means when the rebuys are finished, you can again pay $5 and get another 1,500 chips.
And this is all building up the prize pool.
And all this money then goes into the prize pool.
To get a place is going to get more money as long as people keep rebuying. So we'll have to find out, if we can, what the time limit is on that. So there's a certain amount of time that you can rebuy, and then it runs out, and then that's it. So Hoyk's still in the game.
Yes, he's reborn. The reborn Hoyt. Let's hope he has better luck. And we've got a raise there. Late position on the button. Late as you can get there from Ryman with the King-Queen. Took it down. Not too much out there. Chupa calls with King-5. Very adventurous. Don't like that much, I have to admit. Hoyt with King-5 as well.
I'll just quickly tell you about something really exciting as well, James, on Poker Night Live. It was the first one last night, because Sunday nights are now Dream Poker Night. And we're going to be shown Poker Bowl qualifiers. The qualifiers and semi-final are going to be happening on dreampoker.com every Sunday at 8 o'clock. And the first 5 weeks, it's the qualifiers. It's $10 to buy in, plus $1 to the house. And then week 6, you're going to have the semi-final, which is a freeze-out. And then we're going to have the final as well, which will be filmed in the Poker Bowl studio, We'll confirm that date later on. So that's going to be happening every Sunday from 8. So some really good stuff. It's going to be great fun. It's absolutely brilliant. You can find full details about that, what we're going to be showing, all on the Poker Night Live forum, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Loads of PNL viewers have said they're going to be taking part. So it's a great opportunity for players to be seen at professional level across live and online play. It's going to be really good stuff. That I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. And actually then just to see the transition from the internet to live there.
It'd be brilliant. Hopefully we'll get to meet some of our favourite players face to face.
Yeah,
it's nice to
see
put
exactly what they look like.
Yes.
Put a face on those funny names.
It is. It would be nice to put a face to the name, definitely. I'm going to leave that game for just a bit.
Wouldn't it be funny if Froggy Boy was green and had bendy legs?
I hate to wonder what old farce is going to look like. Right, I'm going to get a quick email before we get back to another game, because Rob sent one in. He's first off the mark, and he says, "Hi, Lyndsay and James. Here's my question. It's regarding online multi-table tournaments. Why are the big stacks moved off the table? There is nothing more irritating than being involved in a big pot, especially in rebuy tourneys, and then seeing all the chips you brought to the table winging their way to another seat, leaving the small stacks together. You then look on another table and see all the big stacks are there. You may say that it's to protect the small stacks from being bullied by the larger ones, but to me this is just completely irrelevant. The chips should remain on the table for as long as possible, subject to the table being broken up, of course. But they don't. All the big stacks sit together and start doubling through against each other, and the next thing you know, the chip leader has 10 times the amount of chips in his stack as we'd have on the whole table. To me, this is giving the big stack an unfair advantage in the early stages of a tourney. To my knowledge, this doesn't happen in live games, so why does it happen online? To sit in a 1,000 player tourney with 1,500 chips and see the chip leader in excess of 100,000 chips in the first 15 minutes just makes a mockery of multi-table tourneys. I'd appreciate your comments on this as to why it's done, if you know. I'm really on the point of giving up playing MTTs online because of this. To me, a table should consist of small, medium and big stacks together." It's an interesting email, that, James.
Right. Actually, well, first of all, when we're in a live tournament, the correct way of balancing the tables, and this is what happened, is basically the field is now spread out amongst or as many tables as it requires. No table can have more than one more player than another table. So therefore, supposing basically the average, every table, say, had 10, all of a sudden, this table went down to 8 players. So now they're going to have to move a player from the 10-seater to the 8-seater to make that one 9.
Yeah.
And the other one would be 9. So it would be no difference because there'd be 10s and 2 9s.
Right.
So example, it would still be balanced. Now, in that case, the correct procedure is to move someone randomly. And the randomness is that they would move the person who was due to put in the big blind. That person would now move to the next table he has to go to and would move, if possible, to the big blind.
Right.
If not, to the next worst position, which would be one seat in front of the big blind.
Right.
So in this way, it's perfectly random if he's a big stack, a small stack, medium stack, whatever. The rest of the tournament just is as it started. And that is obviously the fairest way to do it. Online, I think it's possible that it does vary from site to site what their procedure is. But technically, I think that moving the big blind clearly is the method which should be used in multi-table tournaments. In that case, if that was the case, then our viewer, Rob, would be very happy.
Do you think maybe it's the site Rob's playing, or maybe he should try a different site if he's not happy with the way it's being done on his site?
Yes, it's possible. I tell you what, I'm not fully au fait with the methods every site does use in balancing the tables. But my penneth is that I think they should stick to, if possible, they should make it big blind moves. And I think
so maybe if he looks around to find a site which does.
But I don't
stick
believe
to
that they are trying to pile up all the big blinds together, though. I think that's just possibly the way it seems to him.
But good email, Rob. Thanks for getting in touch. If you've got any questions, any ones at all, then you can text us in the studio. Put the word poker on your message and text 84222. 84222, and remember to put the word poker on there. Or you can email them through to us, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. We do love to hear from you. and see what you want to discuss. Okay, we're going to go to another game now, James. Head to a cash game. So let's have a look.
Okay, it's a cash game. It's a 50-cent, $1 cash game, and it's a full table of players there. The maximum you can sit down with is $50. The minimum is $5. And as it says at the top, the blinds are obviously 50 cents for the small blind and $1 for the big blind. This moment in time, the big blind is Snap It. Who's got his dollar in there?
Who's been making a profit? Is it $100 the maximum?
No, $50 the maximum buy-in. He's in great shape there with $147.
And look at Craven underneath him.
Whoa, yes. And look above, what a game this must have been. Gold Snake's got 177. Oh, sorry, hang on. Sorry, it's a $100 buy-in, beg your pardon. Sorry, I was thinking something else. Sorry, it's a $100 buy-in. But
still, Craven, he's nearly trebled.
Yeah.
Trebled his buy-in. If that is, of course, if he sat down with the maximum.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, $100 buy-in, sorry, beg your pardon, and a $10 minimum. Sorry about that. I was thinking it was a 50-cent big blind.
Makes a change. Me actually saying something right for once. I'm learning.
I know. And coming from the land of precision as well, there's me making a little error like that. Okay, yeah, so no, still, Snap It's probably in the land of profit there with his, and Craven, I would think, almost certainly is. But Sound looks like the makings of a good game here. So we have a Golden Jaguar there who's got trip 10s. And surely the pair of 5s can't like this.
It was a lovely flop for Golden Jaguar, wasn't it?
It was. He was possibly a bit worried about the flush coming, and it's when that heart landed on the turn, might have wondered if his opposition had a flush.
Yeah.
But you could tell from the betting that they obviously didn't.
It's so important to be always looking for that hand that can beat you, even if you think, I've got a great hand, I've got trips 10, always being aware.
Well, basically, you should always be aware. Oh, just have a look at this, Lyndsay. Top 2 pair there for Snap It, and he's checked it through strength. And Gold Snake there's got the middle pair, and there he is. He's come back, so he's check raised, and he's got paid as well. Look at that, he's made the house on the turn. Is he going to check it again? Yes, he has checked it. Tricky Ken, but... Oh, and look at this. A straight there for Gold Snake, but doesn't fall for it. Had the straight, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but Ken then bet the 10. Gold Snake said, and found a way to pass.
Getting out of here.
Well, because he was worried about possibly a house, also possibly a bigger straight if he had the 10, and decided, and good pass in the end by Gold Snake.
That's what we're saying, he was being aware of.
Yeah, and also aware of who he was playing against. Yeah. And he knows that Snap It doesn't generally be put in too many bluffs.
Without a good hand.
Well, every now and again he'll put in a bluff, but not too many. Yes. And also the fact that he went back in his mind to see what had happened, and he remembered. What was the telltale? I'm going to ask you a question now,
Lyndsay. The check raise.
Lyndsay, wow!
Hey! That's what would have scared me as well.
That's even preempted the question, and you got the answer.
It was the
Lyndsay,
check
I
raise.
am well impressed.
Because it's a
sign of strength.
It's a profound move, isn't it? It's meaningful.
Top of the class.
Hey!
Top of the class. Brilliant, Lyndsay. Yes, that was his sign of strength, the check raise. And full marks to Lyndsay, who's boosted spot on tonight. Watch out in the tourney tonight. I think she could be out to...
I don't know about that.
No, don't lose your confidence. She should be out to seek revenge.
I might be tricking them.
No, no tricking. You're out there confident.
Yes.
You're learning
I'm looking
more.
forward to it. I'm enjoying it at the moment.
Oh,
I'm
brilliant.
really enjoying playing.
Right. Gullo.
And was that a perfect example of when it is a great time to put in a check raise?
Oh yes. Well, he flopped the top 2 pair. So he now checks. He's checking through strength. He knows there's a chance his opponent might bet even if he's got nothing. So that's a way to get someone on. See, you gain them there. Supposing you have top 2 pair and you bet. If your opponent's got nothing, they ain't going to play.
If you check, you got
them. They might try to make a move on you. Yeah, they might put something in. So at least you'll get something.
Yeah.
If they've got connected with part of the flop, then they might call your raise, which in this case he did. He connected a little bit. He had a bit of a straight, a bit of this, bit of that. So he thought, I'll call it. Yeah. Not very wisely, I think, but he did.
So it's all about building that pot.
Yeah. The only thing is then Ken checked again. Snap it checked again on the turn.
Right.
Now I'm not so certain if that's right, because with that sort of flop there, if his opponent is on a draw, he doesn't necessarily realise. I know Snap It had made the full house there, but Snap It maybe could have popped in a bet there.
Right.
Because if the guy was on a draw, he might think that Snap It was making him pay for the draw and didn't have the made hand.
Okay.
And he might have got the guy to pay for the draw.
But because he check raised before...
if you wait to the river, the guy mightn't pay you anyway.
Right, so when he check raised, he'd shown strength there, so checking again, it looked like he was trying to trap him.
It looks too smelly, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it looks like too tricky. But in a way, to reverse it now would have been quite good. He could have now said, OK, now I bet it.
Yeah.
He's declared strength already, and said, but now I bet it, which might make it look like I'm not quite as strong as you thought I was. In fact, I'd quite like you to disappear from this pot now. So in fact, you could wrong foot him the other way.
Yeah. It's a really good hand. So it's amazing how much you can take from just analysing one hand, isn't it?
And that is what poker is all about. It's a matter of putting the whole picture together. And a beginner just does one thing. A beginner looks at their two cards and doesn't look at anything else. So that's the level they play poker at. Oh yeah, that looks a pretty hand. I think I'll play it. But that's
when
not
you can
poker.
start taking into
But then
all
you've got
those
to go to the
factors.
next level and you say, you know, what does my opponent think I've got, and what do they think that I think they've got, etc., etc. And we go down all the levels, and that's why this is a brilliant game, because there's so much to it. Now what does Lyndsay normally do? Oh yes, but Lyndsy's she's been losing all night. She's on tilt. She'll probably call anything now. Or she could be doing anything. So now it's all changed.
Yeah.
Oh he was losing all night, but now he's won his money back. He was just about ready to go home. Goodness, if he's playing a hand now, he must have a monster hand.
Yeah.
He had his boots on, he had his overcoat on, and the next minute he's playing a pot. Watch out.
Multifaceted.
Multifaceted, all the different side bits in the game which you've got to keep attention to. Oh, just going back to Sweden again, unbelievable was the average age of the players. This was the Nordic Masters, right? It was a mega payout, entry fee. It was cost 25,900 krona to enter this, which is what? Knocking on the door of £2,000. So it's a big,
crikey,
it's a big tournament. The minimum age to get in the casino is 20.
Right.
And I think the average age might have been knocking on the door of something like 22, I think.
Really? Lots of young Swedish people playing?
Yes.
Oh, I wish I'd come with you. Quite an attractive race, aren't they, this week?
Yeah, well, quite a few had the Viking element about them as well. Yes. There was a few there with the long hair as well. Not all.
Really?
Oh, yeah, some of the... No. Yeah, no, average age was amazing. I'm not sure what it was, but it was... I'll tell you what, okay, let's... Yeah, I bumped it up a bit, I suppose. Yeah, 25. The average age was probably around about 25. I mean, it's very, very young. I've never seen a main event have such a young average age. It was incredible.
Lots of players coming through then, maybe.
Oh, yes, and loads of action there. There was only one other British player there. I want to give him a shout, and that's his name's... he's an ex-PNLer. We used to watch him on here. Stu_Rutter was the name we used to watch. His name is Stuart Rutter. He's studying mathematics at Oxford University. Wow. He's doing an exchange year in Germany at the moment. He had a good result not long ago in Helsinki where he came fourth. He won a tournament in the festival at Walsall, I think in the Midlands medley. I think he won the £200 freeze out there.
Right.
And he came, I think it was 16th in this one, so he made a small profit on this one.
Clever boy then. Mathematics at Oxford, goodness.
Yes, he's a clever boy. And I'll tell you what, he's a charming guy. I mean, a very good advert for poker. I mean, I saw him if he lost a hand or whatever, very well-mannered, very graceful in defeat, and loves the game, and you can see it in the way he plays.
The sort of player you want in the game.
Oh, brilliant, yeah. He's absolutely brilliant for the game. So that's Stuart Rutter. Well done, Stuart. And it was a pleasure to meet you. And I'm definitely going to keep in touch with you because I want to have some good poker chats with you. They're good fun.
So I've just got some more details on our MTT, James, as well, which I'll let you know later about all the rebuys.
How long do the rebuys go on for? That's what I want to know.
Well, the rebuys are $2.50 for the first hour.
Oh, half-price rebuys.
Half-price rebuy, and then there's an add-on at the end of the first hour.
Oh, right. Now, that means that you can't refuse rebuys now because they're really good value because you're getting the same amount of chips for half price.
Yeah.
It's a half-price sale. You couldn't resist that.
And we must say special thanks to Shelby as well for putting together the private MTT.
That's right. Shelby arranged all this a while ago, and it's well done for you and that. It's sort of a good thinking there, and it's nice to see so many of the regulars together there. Well, let's have a last look at this cash game here. Oh, a bit of action here. We've got Benny Pump there with ace-queen suited, and he'll quite like that flop. But the only thing is he's got no opposition. But he bet it anyway, so he felt he had overcards and a flush draw and a straight draw.
As well, yeah.
A bit of a monster. Considering he didn't have a pair, he had a monster hand.
Loads of outs.
Loads of outs, that's the way.
But there we go. We'll leave that cash game for a bit. We're going to have another look at our MTT. So yeah, all those details we've just got through. So it was $5 initially to buy in, 46 runners and rebuys. Like you said, James, half price, so good value. We can't really turn it down. Still got 46 players as well.
We've been taking advantage of the half price rebuys.
That's it. And there's Shelby on that table, and also Pack Bluffer is our small stack.
There's Shelby XTC. He's the instigator of this.
He is. And our big stack, 6,755 chips, and that's clay.
Ah.
So you'll have to look out for him.
It's always nice to play with clay chips.
But even though Pack's, 925, he's still got lots of play in him left, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, he's probably got lots of rebuys left.
Well, yeah. There's a big slick there.
See, what you can play quite differently in the rebuy part now because our rebuys, and also because of half-price rebuys, so you can actually loosen up your action in the early stages.
I think a lot of people do that in those rebuys because they'll try and double up and think, oh well, I can always just rebuy, and they'll make more dangerous moves. Yes,
you can. You can play more drawing hands because if it goes wrong, you can rebuy again. So you can play a drawing hand against a lot of people, which you're not going to double up here. If you connect here, you might triple or quadruple up.
You can make a lot of chips.
So that's what you look to do. So if I was in a rebuy tournament, in late situation, if I saw there was a lot of company in the pot, and I had small suited connectors or whatever, or a pair or whatever, I'd be joining in this battle because I think if I connect, I can get really well paid here.
Yeah, your all-ins will get calls.
Exactly.
Because people know they can just rebuy.
What have we got on the flop? Ace, king, ace, ace. And look at that, the baby pair of threes has now become a monster because it's a full house. 3 aces and 2 threes. So, likey serve takes the money. King Jack, King 7 rather, for Rock Bluffer. Now that's an interesting name. Must be a schizophrenic, I think. Rock Bluffer.
It's actually Puck.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Ah, you see, from the angle I'm looking at it here, I've got the line of the table there.
Yes, right on the corner there, isn't it? Right through his name, but it's Puck.
Puck Bluffer.
Maybe it's a bit of an ice hockey player at heart.
Could be, yeah. Or it could be the puck in poker, because the dealer's button could be called a puck.
Yes.
Looking a bit similar. Do they? No, do they pucker up? Is that, yeah.
Pucker up, yeah.
All right.
Is it the Canadians who call the dealer button the puck?
Yeah, they do, yeah. That's why I said, yeah, the dealer button can be called the puck. Yeah, the Canadians, I think they definitely call it. With their love of ice hockey.
Yes.
They had to get it in there somewhere.
I went out with a Canadian ice hockey player once, James.
Oh, actually I remember you were telling Johnny T about it.
Yeah.
And?
He moved to Charlotte to play for the Charlotte Checkers.
Oh, right. I thought it meant you moved to Charlotte.
Ice hockey before me.
I thought it was Canadian Charlotte. That's a well-known floozy.
No, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, never mind.
Was he nice?
He was gorgeous.
Oh dear, it sounds like...
Big and strong.
Oh. Oh, that sounds like a sad story.
Yeah, I got over it.
Right. Did he teach you how to skate?
No, I can skate anywhere.
Oh. Did you ever go to Whitley Bay Ice Rink?
No, this was in Manchester.
All right. 8 Jack 9. Well, middle pin straight draw for puck bluffer. I've got that. I must be sleepy tonight. Sorry, he's got a pair of 8s there. Beg your pardon, puck. Pair of 8s he had. He had a real hand. He didn't have a middle pin straight at all.
Through the matrix, got another table. Hoofy there. Monte Cristo.
Juggle bug. And we've got big slick on the button. Let's see how this pot unfolds. A blind to 25.50, and it's crumble to speak with Jack 7 suited. No thanks. I think the action's going to come from Stanters there with the big slick. Let's see how much he bets. Makes it 150. Classical raise, 3 times a big blind, up to...
Yeah, no one really had anything to play with him.
So he takes down the 75, no risk. It's not so bad. He's going along all right anyway. He's got almost double his starter stack. He's got another hand now, ace jack. Let's see what he does with this one. And again, I think juggle bug will pass. Now what's Stanter's going to bet this time? And he's done the same, sticking with the 150. I'll tell you what, he'd be quite happy to take down the blinds with the ace jack. He's got a contender. King 8. King 8, he's got position, Monte Cristo, but that's all he's got, really. Not a difficult hand to play, King 8. And Stanters puts in the continuation bet. He's put in 250. My goodness, what a call that is. I don't know how he called.
Without hitting anything. If he'd hit something, fair enough.
Well, if he's called with the idea of trying to take his opponent off the hand, but he can't because he's only got 575 left. I think this is a loose call. Now, that there is a loose call in a rebuy tournament.
Yeah, that's
because
he wouldn't have done that in a freeze-out, would he?
But no, that is even a bad call in a rebuy because he doesn't even know if he hits his card if he's going to win anyway. Yeah. He doesn't know where he is. That's a very loose call there. I'm afraid did not like that one little bit.
Another big slick there.
Don't do that at home.
And 2 ace jacks this time.
Technologue, he's the one with the ace jack on the button, which is better than the ace jack on the small blind, as we can see. He can bet, the small blind can't call. But it could be beneficial because there's an ace king there, but Technologue's got position. Is he going to represent a queen? He's got a few chips. There's 475, he's bet 190. Continuation bet. He's missed a flop, but he says, listen, I'm the pre-flop raiser. I'm following it up, and ace-king doesn't believe it. He's called it. He's checked again. Oh, and he doesn't fire another bullet. And that's dodgy now, because Crumble doesn't believe he's got the queen. And now Crumble doesn't believe at all, and he's bet. And he's bet a small amount, really pretending, listen, I've got the queen.
And he finally gets away from it.
And Crumble takes that down. He actually did have the best hand. He didn't realise he had the best hand because he tried to steal it with his bet.
Yeah.
But interesting there. Technologue needed probably to fire 2 bullets. He did his continuation bet. If he had wanted to try and win it, he could have fired his second bet, and I think he'd have got rid of Crumble.
Yeah.
If this is still rebuy, which I think it's still the rebuy period, he could have actually risked firing a second continuation bet. If it
And
wasn't the
queen.
rebuy, if the rebuys are over, then he was probably right not to lose any more chips.
But he could have done it.
If it had been rebuys that ran, he could have fired again.
And maybe make.
So there's the difference there.
Had the queen.
Because if you just have the one life, okay, you tried the once, you could just back off. If you had the 2 lives, you could perhaps
take more risks,
and that's it. Yeah. Okay, pair of 10s under the gun for Skinner. He's made it 200. Stanters, contemplating. And a pair of jacks, small blind. It's 174. Oh, and he's cranked it up there, made it 550, and the 10s is called. These hands, which are close together, nearly always create big pots. And he's bet 600, but well done, Skinner, got away from it. The ace helped him to get away from that, of course, because he suddenly thought his opponent might have had the ace rather than a pair of jacks. But well done for the pair of jacks not being frightened by that ace, and he followed up his re-raise with a bet. He showed strength.
And he found out where he was as well.
He did, yes.
If he hadn't have done that, he
then if he checks and his opponent bets, he might have had to pass because he thinks he's got an ace.
He asked the question and got an answer.
The answer he wanted. Looks, there's trips there for Clay, our chip leader. Looks like he might be marching on further here. Trip 5s against a pair of 10s, and there he is. He's raised him, and double top here. Oh my goodness! Oh no, double top. Where did you find it?
Oh goodness me! What a river card!
What a river!
I bet he did a bit of a yes to the computer.
He's still jumping up and down. He's unbelievable.
I thought he was a goner there. Well, he wouldn't have been a goner. He could have rebought, but still, I thought that was it.
What a hand!
Got another hand for Clay there.
Oh, and his pair of jacks though now. My goodness, and Clay was big chip leader, but if this carries on...
Eight's gone all in with
and the fours have done the raise.
Now is that not a classic sign of the rebuy as well? Going all in there with the fours. Oh, this is going to be
and Pascali's gone all in with ace queen, and...
Check from the jacks. And Clay's put in a massive bet. He's been... and the jacks take it. No one actually hit anything.
Wow. I was just looking at that. Did you? Is that what happened? I was just looking at
the jacks took it. Clay's just halved his stack in the last 2 hands. I
know. From big chip leader, suddenly the wheels come off. I'm just having a look at that hand because that hand was so interesting there. All the pairs out there, wasn't it? The pair of fours, a pair of eights, a pair of jacks.
Jacks, yeah.
Jack of diamonds, jack of spades.
And ace queen.
Ace of clubs and queen of diamonds. Fascinating. So just pre-flop. So that was quite an interesting hand there. We had the we had the pair of fours, a pair of eights, the pair of jacks, and the ace queen. And the pair of jacks was actually, in that situation, was going to win 37% of the time.
Right.
The ace queen was obviously, as you might think, was in second place. It was going to win 28.7% of the time. And followed by the pair of eights, 18.8, and last the pair of fours, 15%.
But Aid's rebought, and now he's got a pair of threes. We've got eights against threes again. And Pascal's hit his king and his 5. He's got 2 pair. A double top's got a pair of 10s. Gets away from it. Kings and 5s take it.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about that situation there with the 4s, the 8s, the jacks and the ace-queen is that the pair of jacks was obviously in great shape there. 37% it wins. But ace-queen, of course, it's wins it getting on for 29% of the time.
Not much in it.
So basically, you know, there's 3 other people in the pot for each person.
Yeah.
So the ace-queen is obviously in the land of value.
Yeah.
Especially in an all-in situation there, odds-wise, because he's less than 3 to 1 against, and he's getting virtually 3 to 1 his money.
Yeah.
And obviously the pair of jacks in great shape, whereas the other two, in fact, aren't getting paid enough.
No.
As you would expect.
Interesting, and a big pot, and Clay there, down to just over 5,000 chips. Well, we're going to leave that tourney. We will be going back to that a bit later on, but I'm going to get in a quick email. This is from David, who says, I recently ran across your programme by accident while zapping TV channels late one evening, and I've since become hooked. Just a brief question. As a complete novice to poker, I've started by playing the free fun tables, but I've already noticed that people seem willing to take reckless risks when they know that the money they're playing with just isn't real. My question is, are the free fun tables actually any use to a novice who's trying to learn? If you ignore the guys who suddenly appear on a table, go all in on their first hand, lose it all and disappear forever, can you actually learn anything from these games? Or is the quality of play on the real tables much higher? Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question, actually. Right, what I believe is, yes, I think there still are some use to you, but you bear in mind that not everyone is playing seriously. So what I would do is set yourself a challenge. Enter on a site, enter the play money, and enter a sit and go. So play money, sit and go. And just say, I don't care how badly you lot are going to play, I am going to make myself try and win this sit and go. So this is very good practice because you're playing, say, against crazy players. So you have to find a way to control them and to find a way to win that event. And if you do that, it will still help you because you'll be thinking out the whole puzzle of poker. These are crazy players. He's not such a crazy player. He looks like he's trying to win. Work out what the characters are by the way they're playing.
It gets you into a habit of analysing the table.
Exactly. So use the play money to analyse these players. And bear in mind, there's going to be some loonies who are going to just go wild. Now, next step from that is, I would certainly go to a free roll tournament where they're adding some money. That's a great place to play. Early on, it's full of crazies, people who don't care. But as it gets nearer the money, people do care. Next, I'd go, there's a great tournament. There's a site there, there's a dollar tournament where they add money to. Well, this is massive money you're playing for $1. Yes, you're going to get real poker towards the end. I think there's 2,000 people entered, but once you get down to the last 400, people are all thinking of getting into the money. Now you'll get good poker practice. Then get a $2 tournament, multi-table tournaments or whatever, $1 tournaments, $2. You can get for small money, you'll be getting proper practice then. But initially, yes, try what I said about the play money, play a sit and go and try and win it. And you need to be able to win these against crazies to show you're ready to move up to the next level.
And you are probably going to meet people like that on the money tables
exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
You know, they don't
just
all gather around the free tables.
Well,
you get all sorts of people playing on the money table.
They were born in play money, and sometimes they take those traits with them.
But thank you for your email, David. Good question. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, and hopefully you'll keep watching. If you've got any questions you'd like to send through to us, please do keep them coming through. You can text us in the studio. The number is 84222. 84222, just put the word poker at the front of your message, or you can put them on an email, and the email address is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. We've got a break coming up soon. We're also going to be talking to Mike Lacey as well, who's going to give us all the info on the Irish Open. And when we come back after the break, I'm going to be playing in the Beat the Presenter tournament, which I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
And we'll analyse that a bit later on. So loads more coming up. Stick around, and we'll see you very soon. Well, we're going to take our first break very soon, but before that, we've got Mike Lacey on the phone from Anti's Up. Hi, Mike.
Hi Lyndsay, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, you're over in Ireland at the moment, and it's a big week over there, isn't it?
Well, it's pretty much the biggest week in Irish poker, with the Irish Open starting at the weekend. So I was down in the Merrion Club today paying in some people from some qualifiers we held, and they're sold out now. They're putting people on a reserve list if they try and get in. So it's going to be over €1 million in prize money up for grabs.
The whole tournament is sold out?
Completely sold out.
Wow.
That's incredible at this stage.
Every seat's gone, and they can't really up the numbers because it's being filmed live for broadcast live on TV, so they have to be at the final table dead on time. So
amazing. Just tell everybody what the entry fee is.
The entry fee is €3,200. So
wow, and it's completely sold out. So how many people have they got then?
They have 350, plus a list of about 50 people in reserve.
Wowie, that is just the most incredible response, isn't it?
It is. I mean, poker's huge over here, and there's going to be a lot of Europeans over as well, so it's going to be a great weekend. There's a few side events to keep everybody entertained too, so really looking forward to it. Had to bite the bullet myself and buy a ticket. I haven't had a chance to qualify, so...
I know in Dublin it's going to be one big party as well, I'm sure.
It will be. Well, it's in a hotel this year, so there'll be plenty of bars, so...
And is there any big name players that you know of who are going to be playing?
Well, all the big Irish players will be playing, and then the best of the European players that haven't gone over to the Bellagio will be over here as well. Julian Few, I think, is coming over to play, and Dave Colclough and the likes. So there's going to be some hot competition for the first prize. Alan Betson, who was runner-up last year, is playing again this year. We'll have Peter Roche, Andy Black. I think Padraig will be here as well. Noel Furlong, the ex-world champion, will be there.
Will Rory Leaf be there?
I think Rory's playing as well. I think I remember seeing his name on the list, so he's another one to watch out for.
Definitely.
Mickey Wernick, the European Player of the Year last year, is coming over as well, and a whole host of online qualifiers.
And I presume last year's winner, which was John Falconer, wasn't it?
John Falconer, yes. Certainly John's going to be here. Lovely fellow. I've met him a few times. A worthy champion last year. Don't know that it'll be as easy to repeat this year. There was only 171 players last year, so there's going to be at least double this year.
Yeah, that's right.
And €1 million in prize money. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, it's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, I'll tell you what, you've just knocked me out there to think that it has got a waiting list of 50 already. That's just incredible.
I presume you're already on the main list, James?
I'm afraid I'm not. I can't make it. But now that's really told me I can't make it now, because I wouldn't want to travel across there and be 51.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. I remember I was at the EPT in Barcelona, and there was over 100 people didn't get into the event, and that was €4,200. So.
And do you think this is just another sign of the increasing popularity of poker? It just seems to be getting more popular every year.
Well, it does. I mean, we had an event in January which had 400 players. That was €1,000 entry fee. And that was nearly all Irish players. There was a few Europeans, but that was mainly Irish players. So I see soon that there's going to be an event in Europe that's going to have over 1,000 players within the next year or two, I reckon.
Yeah, because actually there's even a clash of a festival on at the same time as the Irish one. I think there's one in Brighton, which is normally quite a well-attended festival as well.
Yeah, and I think I remember reading the Welsh Open is on.
You're right. You're very right. So that's actually 3 events on at the same time, yet you've still got a massive waiting list. This is just mind-boggling.
It is, isn't it?
Plus you have the Bellagio, I think, starts on the Tuesday. So if anybody wants to play that, then they can't play the Irish Open either, because there's not enough time to get out there. So it is amazing to have that amount of people playing in one tournament when there's so much else going on.
Well, it's just great news for you, and it's great news for poker, Mike. And I think
it's great
brilliant.
news for my pocket when I win it.
That'll be even better news. You will remember us on Poker Night Live, won't you?
Of course I will.
I hope so, I hope so. Well, listen, Mike, we're going to be taking a short break soon, but we'll be speaking to you a bit later on. We'll find out a bit more about the structure of the tournament, I think, and see what Mike thinks his chances are. So we're going to take a short break, but we are going to come back after the break, and I'm going to be pitting my wits against lots of the PNL regulars in the Beat the Presenter game, and then we'll be watching that back a bit later. So stick around, loads more coming up on PNL.
Hi and welcome back to Poker Night Live. I'm James Browning and I'm with Lyndsay, who's very busy at the moment.
Concentrating.
Yeah,
focus,
that's it.
Focus.
She's playing in Beat the Commentator. And we will, of course, be looking at all the thrills and spills of that later on. But meanwhile, let's concentrate. Yeah, concentrate. She's in the chat box again. In the meantime, let's go and have a look at a game. And we'll go to a sit and go. And it's in the first level. We can see the blinds are 10-20. And this is a $30 sit and go, so that'll be good to watch. And we've got Mr. Perfect there. He's got a pair of ladies and he's made it 80. And Natapak, King 8. I don't like the call. Why he wants to get busy with calling out of position. By that I mean after this round of betting he's going to be the first to speak with a really substandard hand. And of course he hasn't connected at all there, and the ace-10 called in the big blind. At least the ace-10 probably thinks an ace might be alright for him. Well, he's testing it out there. He's put 100 in there to a pot of 240. Mr. Perfect. He doesn't have to make as good pass, Mr. Perfect. You don't have to try any cute plays at this time. You haven't got enough chips to sort of test him with a re-raise there. And I think he did the right thing. You put in a reasonable size raise, you didn't like the flop, someone bet, and you weren't too proud to surrender. You've kept yourself 920 chips, and that's good play. A big raise here, I don't like that from Max Headroom. Too big a raise, 300 to win 30. Too big in my liking with a pair of tens. You know, you're going to get action from someone with a better hand than a pair of tens, basically. So a little bit of an overbet there, so not keen on that one. So we've got started off with a few black marks, I'm afraid, guys. Calling with a King 8 before was rather substandard and an over-raise from Max Headroom. Stanter's there, late position, he's in the cutoff. He's got King 7 of clubs. He's decided to put in a raise, and the blinds now, of course, are 20-40, so he takes down 60. He used position there more than the hand. King 7 just being a mediocre hand. But he wasn't a cut-off, was late position. Okay, Natapak calls under the gun with ace-8. I don't like that, I'm afraid. He's got to withstand the rest of the table. Not raising, well, he's got away with it. Max Headroom called with King 4. What a weird play that is, I'm afraid, Max. You know, you've only got 180 left, and you've called there. You can't afford to be fishing for pots when you've only got a small amount of money. You know, you just have to take a hand and bet it. You can't be frittering any more chips away, I'm afraid. Well, some strange plays going on here. A weak call from Power to Win there. King 4 under the gun. Max Head calling here. He's only got 140 left. I don't understand this at all. Just a call from Mr. Perfect. They're lining up here. Well, this is strange what's going on. Anyone got a 9? Yes, Napans has got a 9. He's got trip 9s. Natapak, nothing there. Power to Win, King 4. He can't like that flop either. Max Headroom's got a middle pin straight draw there. 5, 6, 7, 9. He needs the 8. And he's decided to go all in. Okay, well, at least you've committed. Unlucky for you, you've run against trips. He's definitely going to call. He's raised. You've hit a pair and a club. You've got a club flush draw. Oh, my goodness, look at that. And he's pinged the flush. Oh, beg your pardon, sorry. There we go. He had pinged the flush, but unfortunately, Naphan's there. He had the overcard for the flush. He had the 8 of clubs. Oh, that was a cruel blow there. Not only did he have the trip 9s, he had the backup of the higher club. But at least you pushed your money in that time. I didn't like those other ones where you were just frittering away calling for 40s when you didn't have enough chips. Anyway, Naphan's there was pleased with that result. And he's now clicked top pair. He's got the king. Natapak. 3 overcards to his pair of 2s. Power twin, no connection with the flop. And Nappan's top pair, and he's even got that backdoor flush draw because he owns the jack of clubs. Being an experienced winner of the backdoor flush, of course, Nappan's having won the hand before. 180. And that's enough to take the chips. He won it on merit. Nappan's got a nice one here. Big slick suited. How much is he going to bet? 120, 3 times the big blind. I like that. Power twin. Wowee, and he's put in a big re-raise with ace-5 offsuit. And basically he's committing his chips, because if Nappan, yes, there we go, if Nappan's calls it, he's setting him in. Well, he's got him dominated here. And there we go, top pair. Oh, it's looking bleak. And it's bleaker still, because it's 3 aces, king jack for Nappan's, and that was a desperate play there by Power to Win. I don't quite know why he went so potty. I don't think he had to panic at that stage. Overplayed his hand, I believe. Stanters, big slick, he raises up to 220. And he's bet 240 there. Now, what's Natapak think? He's got the top pair. If he's got, yes, if he calls, he's got to put it all in. He's done it. Stanters puts it down, and well done, Natapak. You read the situation. You thought that raise. I think he's got big cards. That's what you're reckoning. And I have hit the top pair, so here you get all my chips. If you've got a bigger pair, good luck. Well, there's Mr. Perfect. You'd expect with a name like that he'd be top of the leaderboard, and he is. And max headroom there, he's got 0 chips as we can see. Because he doesn't exist anymore. But name exists, and he just won that one. Well, motley bunch of cards here. Yep, passed all the way around to the small blind. Mr. Perfect there. Chip leader puts in a bet. 160 makes it. Good enough. Nappans doesn't want to fight him. He says, you and I are pretty evenly matched. I don't want to clash with you just yet. Again, a poor bunch of cards. Stanters doesn't like it. Mr. Perfect. He's got an ace on the button. He could try something. But no, he decides not to, and I don't blame him really. He doesn't have to get too involved yet. The blinds are only still 40-80, so you don't want to be taking great risks just to win 120, because we've always got to look at the 3 R's. My favourite 3 R's, not reading, writing, arithmetic, but risk-reward ratio. So, how much risk would he be taking for how much reward? What's the ratio between the two? In the early stages of a sit and go, you don't get too much reward because the blinds aren't very big. So you take a big risk for small reward, not a good idea. As the tournament progresses, the blinds go up, so the reward becomes greater. Now it often becomes correct to take the risk, to be showered in glory and riches and reward. Natapak blinds up to 40-80, limps in for 80, and Charwell decides his 570 is a good spot to put it in. Well, he's got 2 overcards. They haven't appeared yet, and he needs a 7 or an ace. Otherwise, he's a goner. I'm afraid to say Charwell has been well and truly charred. Burnt to a cinder. Another one bites the dust.
I haven't bit the dust yet, James.
No, you haven't bit the dust. You're fighting like a tigress.
I'm doing my best.
And I'm glad to hear you've stopped chatting.
Yes,
meaning you're concentrating a bit more, young lady.
Concentrating now, yeah. I do think they try and put me off.
Yeah, watch their play, watch what they're doing. You should be even taking a few notes here.
I know.
In fact, aim to take notes on at least 3 players, and I want to see what they were afterwards. That's your little mission.
Oh, James, don't give me extra things to think about.
Well, no, it's important. You know that's what you should be doing.
Not on TV.
Yes, no, you should, because you should set an example to our other beginners.
Okay, I'll try. I'm just...
Cowboys. Mr. Perfect. He's got chips and getting cards as well, not a strong combination. So we're down to 5 runners, 5 players, 3 empty seats. Blind still 40-80, name exists, ace-10 suited. Raises it up there, 3 times the big blind to 240. Down to Stanters. He's only got 670, but says no. And I don't mind that. If I was Stanters, I'd rather be a better than a caller. If you're a better, you can win 2 ways. 1 by ending up with the best hand, or 2 by having your opponents pass. So you have what is called fold equity, a very powerful factor. Natapak contemplating, using his position, but he decides just to flat call. Interesting. Now Stanters here might, yes, and he does. He might take the plunge. He's only got 670. He says, I think that's a sign of weakness from Natapak just calling. I am going to ask the question and see if I can take down this money, because that will look extra good on my stack. And it does. And there you go. He bumped his 670 to 830 with no risk because they passed. And Stanters there proved to us he didn't call the time before with his ace small, and he saved the money to be the attacker, the aggressor, the better. And because of that, he captured that thing I was talking about, fold equity. And he got his opponents to pass. No risk, and now he's in a better position than he was. I'm just going to make a note here to check your notes. Well, no, I'm going to. I'm telling you, I'm serious.
James,
I'm sorry, Lyndsay.
I'm focusing.
Well, if you're focusing, there'll be some notes will be appearing on your little page there. Don't force them, but when they happen. Name exists there. Pre-flop folds, 90%. Wow. Stanters, 80%. Natapak, we know that he likes to limp in there, and that can be proved by his 60% only of pre-flop folds. Of course, that percentage will be changing as the game becomes more and more short-handed. Why? Because, of course, the blinds come round more often. And if you're on the blind, there's more chance that you're going to be playing in the hand. So therefore, your pre-flop fold percentage will change. And we've had a question asked by Napans. And he's taken it down. Apologies to Napans, it's actually Natapak actually who does like to limp in a bit. And Stanters there, he's found a 1 again, he's down to that 670, he had it before. He said, I've got an ace with a reasonable kicker here, I'm pushing, and I'll be delighted if you guys pass, because I'll be taking 320 and popping that on top of my 670, and it'll be sweet. But he's got opposition, but at the moment, oh, and that's a dodgy old turn card, because it's an 8 for Natapak, and I'm afraid to say, oh, Stanters got the ace to start with. I mustn't watch Lyndsay play as well. Ace for Stanters, he's fine. He's found his ace-jack, which was good enough. Well done, Stanters. He's turned that into 1,500. Now, remember that. He turned down Stanters. He turned down a chance to call a bet before. He ignored that. He picked his moment to come over the top with his, I think it was ace-10. He doubled up with that. He's been selective again. He found his moment again to push, this time with ace-jack, and he's now to 1,500. So, well back in the game. And with the least amount of risk, basically. So, good play from Stanters. And good hand for nap hands. Yeah, I think that is a nap hand, isn't it? American Airlines. And he's got someone raising into him. How sweet life is. How can I get all my chips in, he says. Do I play tricky? Do I do a small raise? He says, I'll do the small raise. Oh, and look at this. It's a flush draw for a name exists. He's got the Queen 6 of hearts. There's a 4 and 7 of hearts out there. Nap hand has got a heart in his hand. So if a heart, but he doesn't come now, but is a queen there. So name exists, definitely going to get all his chips in. Yes, he does. He's got the queen and the flush draw, but it's not good enough to beat a pair of aces. And Nap hands has knocked him out. We're down to 3 runners. Nap hands is chip leader, and it's all action here in the $30 sit and go. The money is split up 50%, 30%, 20%. So it'll be $150 for first prize, 90 for second, and 60 for third. And this is an interesting situation. We've got our chip leader there, and Mr. Perfect and Stanters similarly matched, although Stanters has moved into second place. And Nap hands takes that one down. Whittles the opposition down a bit more. Now Stanters would love to see Mr. Perfect have a fight with Nap hands there, because he could slide into second place without any risk. But it didn't happen. In fact, he's now on the big blind. And there's a percentage played hand with Nap hands has won 100% of hands won. Wow. Incredible. Stanters 83%. Okay, back to the game. Stanters, ace 4, Nap hands 580. And obviously, Nap hands has been getting people to pass. That's why he's got this amazing win percentage. Or he's had the big hand like the aces, but it'll be hard for him to keep his percentage now. It's an ace for Stanters against the jack. Oh, Nap hands, he keeps his percentage again. I would think he's got trip jacks. Unbelievable. Just when we thought his percentage was going to be diluted somewhat. No, no, no. There it is. It was an ace and the flop for Stanters. Put him well in front against Nap hands with only a jack. On the turn, the Lone Ranger came over the hill. It was the jack of clubs. Gave him trip jacks. Nothing more to come. And Nap hands marches further on. Big chip leader. And he's bet into this and stole this one. He had the 5-7 against the 8-6 and took it off the opposition there, Mr. Perfect. Well, Mr. Perfect going to have to go now, but he's dominated. And I think he's going to get all his chips in here. It's ace against ace. Nap hands has got the bigger kicker. It's ace 2 for Perfect, ace 8 for Nap hands. Oh, and it's a 2 on the turn. Mr. Perfect, has he? Yes, he's taken away the 100% record for Nap hands, and he's back in the game. Well, Nap hands, you can't win them all, mate. But I know you tried. Mr. Perfect, 10-4, Broderick Crawford. Over and out with that one, however. Blinds, 163.20. Chunky money. Mr. Perfect doesn't have too much choice here with his plays. He's on the big blind. Small raise from Nap hands. He decided to put it down. It's a close situation, that, because just virtually any 2 cards can play there. Well, I think he'll go all in now, that's for sure. It should be a press now, all in. He's done it. 1,040 all in. Called by Nap hands. 10-2-6. Nap hands got king 9. Oh, he's got a jack for a middle pin straight now as well. He needs a king 9. He doesn't get it. And Mr. Perfect's alive and kicking with his pair of 6s. Well, he's fighting back. He's got over 2,000 now. And he's got the better hand in. Nap hands puts that down. Doesn't like that one. So it's a nice freebie for Mr. Perfect. He's pleased to see that. And he's got ace queen. He'll be singing and dancing. Is he pushing? He should do. Any flat calls. I don't like that. However, he's hit the queen. And he's left the door open. He's checked the Nap hands, leaving the door open for him to bluff. And it's worked. Hats off to you, Mr. Perfect. You found a way to trick him. Hats off to you, and it's a re-raise. Nap Hands has got to put it down. Well done, you got some chips. Don't know what would have done if you'd gone all in. Would he have called? I'm not sure. Probably not. So you found a different way to get chips. Well done. And Nap Hands has just made that one up. He's got the 4 pair of 4s, but we can see it's a straight draw and a flush draw for Mr. Perfect. And overcard, he probably thinks he needs a king, a heart. Oh, and he's got the king. Ping. Kings beats 4s, and Mr. Perfect's taken the lead. He's come from nowhere here. Incredible. And he does a flat raise with the Queen 5. Nap Hands has just called it with the Queen 3. And ironically, they've both hit the flop. They've both hit their kicker. Mr. Perfect hit the 5. Nap Hands has hit the 3. Mr. Perfect whacks it all in. Nap Hands calls 3, 5, 6. The 5s is beating the 3s. And there we go. He came from nowhere. He came from being on the oxygen, gasping his last breath, to come back and steal it from Mr. Nap Hands, who had the 100% record before, but suddenly it got annihilated, and he came with a late run on the rails to beat him. And there we can see the chip movement graph, the red and the pink, both playing pretty steadily for quite a long way. Nap Hands charged to the lead, but look at that big decline. It was a crash in the stock market, sure enough, and a great tourney. I enjoyed that one. Woof! Plenty of action, plenty of excitement in that heads up there at the end. Very good indeed. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's have a little look to the MTT now, see what's happening there. There we are, the green, we know it's the MTT. And I think we're down to 38 players now. And obviously the buy-ins is over, so I believe that the big stack, we've got a couple of big stacks here, but they're not quite the biggest. The big stacks actually go about 12,400. So we can see the blinds now are quite meaningful, which is 100, 200. And I can also report that Lyndsay's been a good girl and she's been writing some notes. So she's in my good books.
All I can tell you is these guys shouldn't really be playing on $5. Cheeky little rats.
Oh! Keep concentrating. Dead Spiders, 6-3. Raises it up. Raises up to 600. And what's up? Oh, calls. But look at this. It's a backdoor flush for Dead Spiders, also connected to 6, pair of 6s, no connection for what's up. Would he feel brave enough to bet it? There's 1,300 in the middle. Yes, bets half the pot. 600, and that's enough. Found out where he was, took the money down. Well done, Dead Spiders. Imaginative play, and then a good continuation bet. Ace Jack in the cutoff. That's, ooh, my goodness. But yes, he didn't like that raise, but he didn't realise that Dead Spiders is actually raising with anything. 6-3 raised with.
It sounds like you've been watching some exciting games, James.
Yes, we had a great sit and go there. $30 sit and go, very exciting.
Sounded like
and a few rather suspect plays early on, but then a really exciting heads up. There's some good stuff. It was very entertaining. Very entertaining. What's up? Not a lot. 2-4 in the bin, that's what's up. And cat attack. 4-3 offsuit. Well, a poor array of cards out here. And the big blind with his pair of nines. It looks like a monster there, but he just wins the blinds with it. For mutts nuts. Raise from I am chip, 6-7 suited, on the button, taking advantage of position, and this of course will be a wonderful bet if he gets his 300 for the price of 4. Bargain basement. Oh, but no. Oh dear, and he got the re-raise. Dead Spiders, he's been very imaginative tonight, did not believe the raise at all, thought that is just a cheap shot trying to pinch the blinds. Take that, mate. And he whacked him back with a re-raise. Good play, Dead Spiders. You read that situation perfectly. Hats off.
He's been on my table, Dead Spiders.
Has he?
Yes.
He's been spreading himself across the web.
Yeah, the guys in my chat box are saying, look at these TV tarts. They get everywhere.
Oh, Farce has got the American Airlines.
And I've got Farce as well.
3-5-10. And bets 400 into a pot of 900. And of course the pair of twos doesn't like that at all. Oh, and American Airlines again. I'm a fish. And just as a flat raise, 200 with 200. Brown Bear says no. Long length, an optimistic player. King 2-4. Well, I'm a fish was hoping that Farce had a king, because this would be the recipe for success. But Farce bets anyway, representing a king, but I'm a fish does the flat raise. So Farce obviously gets away from that, having tried to steal.
They're playing well in this tournament, James.
Well, some good stuff going on here. I like some of the plays which are going on here.
Starting hands, yeah, we've got
King Kong. We've had American Airlines twice and followed by King Kong. And pair of nines.
Ace, Queen,
lurking behind. And
well.
Ace Queen. Incredible. Look at this. 2,800. Bit too big for my liking.
Yeah.
You don't get many premium hands in a tournament, and I think this is just overbet. The blind, you know, just overbet. You know, this is a poor reward for a big hand there. And I think should have put in just a normal size bet, could have got some action from the pair of nines, and that would have been much better. Another big hand, Ace King. And we'll see what he raises here. 400. You see, now this is what I don't like. He's actually wants to play a hand with Ace King.
Yeah.
Where he wants to fight them out the pot with a pair of kings.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, how crazy is this, you know? If anything, you'd be happier to take down the blinds with Ace King and play the hand with pair of kings.
Just in case, and yeah, you
want
want
to play with both of them. But what I'm saying is, you can see the principle, what I'm saying. He wants to scare them away with a massive pair, and it just doesn't make sense.
Just an overbet. You've got to
in a
make
tournament,
the most of those
you only
massive
get so
hands.
many premium hands. You don't just want to take the blinds with the premium hands. Aces and kings.
Yeah.
Say, come on, let's fight. Try and thin the field down to heads up, or maybe against two people. But you do want to play the hand.
You want to make them pay.
Yeah.
I'll just get a quick email in for you, James, from Monte Cristo, who says, great show as always. Can you help me out with the problem? You rightly said that I made a loose call in the MTT tourney. I normally play 5-cent, 10-cent cash games, and I have to say I felt slightly out of my depth. The guys kept nicking my blinds, and I saw my stack shrinking. We can all say we were not getting the cards. However, in the lower levels, you can chase more and get unraised blinds. After the rebuy had ended, I did tighten up a bit, but I'm sure that you'll have a few words of wisdom for me on that problem. I must say that I play this MTT to try and improve my game and not to win money. I'm sure that that will come later.
Well, to start with, I think that's a great idea that you've got in your head there, that you accept that probably winning will come later. And I think that's the correct way of thinking, because early on it is a learning process. So the important thing is to learn at a cheap price so it doesn't cost us too much. The next thing is, which you're aware of, is that we have the capability of learning and we have the capability of winning later. So that's great for a start with. You're in tune there. To tell the truth, Monte Cristo, I watched a lot of hands here. I can't quite remember the hand which I'd commented on. What did he say there to start with?
He said that he made a loose call.
Right, basically, anyway, the principle of this is quite clear. In tournaments, you should cut down on loose calls. I thought it could have been that you made a call with King 8 or something. It could be that one, I can't remember. That seems to strike a chord in my mind. You've got to be very careful with calling, because in tournaments, basically, or even in poker generally, I would much prefer you to be a better than a caller. If you're betting, you can be betting with anything basically, because you always have the chance that people will fold, they will pass. We've just seen a good example here before. Dead Spiders was playing there. He did a pre-flop raise with something like 6-3 suited, and then the other guy checked on the flop. He actually had connected with a 6 or something on the flop. Then he bet again and took down the money. I mean, this is a better. Yeah. He was the aggressor. So basically, loose calls are going to cost you. You frit away your money calling, not knowing where you are, because you don't know what the raiser had. So calling, you really should monitor very closely. And if you cut down your calling to a great extent, you need a better hand to call with than to be raising with, right? Basically.
So even if you cut down the number of hands you're playing, but the ones you do, you're more aggressive with and you bet.
I'd be more likely to raise with an ace-jack than to call with an ace-jack. Let's put it that way. So I'm not happy calling a raiser with ace-jack particularly, because the people who raise are likely to be raising with hands such as ace-king, ace-queen, pair of aces, kings, queens, jacks, etc. So therefore, to call someone like that, my hand is in the wrong territory. But as a bettor, I can bet. Now, I might get people there to put down hands, or they might give me the respect to make my move or to bet. So therefore, I have all the advantages. So that's why really tighten up on the loose calling, and your game will improve an immense amount.
Thanks for your email, Monte Cristo. And if you've got any questions, then please do send them through to us. We love your questions. It's Amateur Night tonight, so you can ask anything at all. You can text us here in the studio. There's the number on your screen. Just put the word poker on your message and send those through to 84222. 84222 is the text number. Or you can email poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. I think we're going to go to a cash game now, James, have a look at something a bit different. So let's head over to our table.
Head over, like?
Head over. Benny Pump there.
I'm just going to head over to the cash game.
Let's head over there and have a look.
It's geordiepoker.com. Here we go, it's a 50-cent, $1. $100 maximum buy-in, $10 minimum buy-in. Blinds as it says, 50 cents, $1. And Snap It still there, got 160, I think he had about 147 last time we saw him. Gold Snake still going along well. Craven, broken the 300 barrier.
Having a great game.
Yeah, Benny, but there's quite a lot of money, isn't there, for a 50-cent $1 game, Lyndsay? Look at that money around the table.
That's the thing, it looks like very small stakes, but there's a lot of money floating around these tables, isn't there, and a lot of good play. Craven's on my game, which we're going to watch a bit later.
All right. Oh, they were all lining up for you, weren't they, Lyndsay?
Yes, they were all there, being cheeky as usual. I'll tell you about this as well, James. It started last night. Dream Poker Night, Sunday nights on PNL. We're going to be showing Poker Bowl qualifiers. And the qualifiers and semi-final are going to be happening on dreampoker.com every Sunday from 8 o'clock. So we'll be shown from week 1 to 5. It's the qualifiers. It's $10 in there, and that's a rebuy.
So this is a qualifier to get into the Poker Bowl.
To get into the Poker Bowl. Week 6, we're going to show the semi-final, which is a freeze-out, and the final, we're going to confirm the date a bit later on, but that's going to be filmed in the Poker Bowl studio. So it's absolutely brilliant.
So this is brilliant. This is qualifiers to get into a TV
event. Live game. That's it. It's honestly brilliant fun. And of course, we're going to be able to see some of our regular players, hopefully, and see the difference between them playing online and playing live. And
what a great way to get on TV.
Definitely, loads of the PNL viewers have said they're going to be taking part.
I'm sure they will.
So it's really, really good. Good opportunity for the players to be seen at a professional level across live and online play, isn't it?
Okay, 5, 6, 8 king. Goodness gracious me, everybody's missed. And Gullo. Whoa, showed good use of the button. He had position, he thought there was weakness at the table, he took advantage of it and took down the money. That is an example of,
I'm on the ball.
You are on the ball tonight, Lyndsay. You're firing out these questions.
You might disagree when you watch my Beat the Presenter game.
Well, I'll be disappointed because you've been sparkling tonight. You've been really snappy with the answers. I've been very impressed.
I was very unlucky.
Uh-oh.
I'll not give any more clues away.
Okay.
I'll wait and see what you say when you watch it back.
You've got that sort of look, I've been unlucky look on your face.
I feel hard done to a bit tonight.
Little tear trickling down her cheek.
Oh, we'll find out.
We'll see. We'll be checking out all the plays. What a waster. He asked the question to the big blind. He says, go on, cost you $1. Thank you very much. And that's a nice result for him. Just took down the blind with a very ordinary hand. Crazy Gum, is he going to do anything? Just calls. And can't see anything else there. Craven, I think that's a poor looking hand. I'd pass that small blind. And he does so. And Snap it'll check that. 6, 4, 5. Well, it looks like check bet here. Oh, he doesn't bet.
No.
Okay, gave Snap it another chance. Now Crazy Gum's not sure where he is, because Snap it could have hit. Well, this is very passive, but he won it without contest. Maybe he thought that Snap it wouldn't try and things, so he just try and win it. But the problem was he could have taken it down
earlier on,
because Snap it could have connected with his card.
Yes.
So although he did win it that way,
just checking it down, he could have.
The difference was he could have lost it that way.
Yes.
Because Snap it had 6 outs twice.
Yeah.
To hit one of his cards, and basically Snap it was only about 3 to 1 against to connect in those 2 draws.
Yeah.
So therefore, by checking it down all the way, it means that 4 times if you play the hand on merit, he's going to lose it once and win it 3. Whereas, if he'd bet after Snap it checked, there's a very good chance he just takes the pot down there and then.
Yeah. He wasn't sure where he was, but if he'd put the bet in, he would have found out.
Yeah. So although it looks the same sometimes, it's not, because it's what would have happened or what would happen if you played that situation numerous times. Yes. And that's the way we've got to analyse it.
In the long term.
There's no point saying, well, it made no difference because I won the chips anyway.
But one of those
What happens the next 100 times you play it this way? That's what we're looking at. Because looking at all our plays in poker, we're looking at what happens in the long run.
Yeah.
What happens on the one hand is relevant to us as human beings, is irrelevant in the whole picture of the game.
Yes, if you want to be a good player, you have to look
because
long term.
In the short run, on the one hand, we can play perfectly, we can play brilliantly and lose the hand.
Yes.
But in that situation, that one hand, if that was repeated 100 times, 1,000 times, if we played brilliantly, perfectly, in the long run we would make money by playing this way.
It balances out over the long term.
We'd be rewarded by our good play. You can't necessarily be rewarded in the short run, but you will be rewarded in the long run. So that's the way we've got to think of the whole game all the time.
And that's how you deal with bad beats, knowing that most of the time that wouldn't happen.
If you lose a hand or whatever, raise up here from Big Slick on the button there to see how much you raise. You made it 4 times a big blind here with Ace King. Gullo, 8-10, no thanks. Cat attack, 7-6. I think he should put it down. He's out of position after the calling the bet, that's why. Yes, it's and that's how we work out. If we look at a hand, look at it. Look how you played the hand. Did you make a correct call? Did you make a correct bet? Should you have raised? What should you have done? Check out the hand. If you think you did everything correctly, don't worry, because you played that hand
in the long term,
to the best of your ability, and that's all you can hope for. And so that's a good way, as you said, of overcoming bad beats.
Yeah.
You say, I played correctly.
I hope you say that about my play when you watch my game back.
I hope
At least
I do.
it'll make me feel better if I know I've made the right play.
I will be giving you my true opinion. Well, that's what you want.
It is exactly what I want.
Right.
Exactly what I want.
I'll be a little bit... I'll be quite good with you, because it does look like you've taken some notes. So You've taken a step in the right direction for the examiner. Yeah.
It's terrible for me, though, because I'm a typical woman. I find it difficult to multitask.
No, that's meant to be your speciality.
Not me.
Oh, you're not a typical woman then?
No.
No, women say all the time how they're best at multitasking.
Not me.
Oh. We've got to multitask a bit in poker. We must make an effort. When we're playing online, the advantage is you can take notes on your players, where you can't do this in a live game. You're not allowed to.
Yeah.
So therefore, online, we should take advantage of it and make the effort. And it is a bit of a chore, but in the long run, it's so rewarding. And on a lot of the sites, there'll be little boxes there. You can make notes.
Yeah, you can do it on the computer, can't you, as you're going along,
Some of the sites, you can put a coloured circle to identify certain types of players. So very quickly, you can look down the lobby and say, oh, look at that, there's 3 yellows there. They're tasty. They're fish.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the cash game. 4, 5, 9. And everyone's connected, missed the flop, apart from the 3 now. On the turn is hit the 3. I'm giving him a pair of 3s. So he's got 2 pairs, 5s and 3s. I think he could have thought he was winning there, because that 5 was a great card for him to come over in the end. No one had liked it before. Why should they like it at the end? But he didn't take advantage of it, but he won it anyway.
Yeah.
Snap it, 8 jack, 2 ace 5, gold snake, he's got the pair of 9s. Snap it checks, gold snake should put a bet in surely. He does $1. Well, it was enough.
Just a little bet, but it was enough to snap it to put it down. He didn't have anything.
No. And I think he thinks there maybe he can get snap it to put down a hand for maybe the smaller bet, so you can question him for less, maybe, he thinks. Snappet's a very solid player. I mean, Snappet's been doing very well on here recently, I have to. Been very consistent when I've been watching him in the cash games. But Snappet's an interesting player, because I have, through the time I've been on the show, I have seen Snappet really experiment with his own play, which is hats off to him. He's tried different styles, etc., etc. I can remember one night, I think I was on with Dr. Tom, and I said, it looks like Snappet's been reading Harrington here. And he did email and said, spot on, that's exactly what I have been doing. Because I'd seen he was experimenting in different ways with some of his plays. But through the time there, he has spent a lot of time experimenting with his plays. By nature, I think he's a very solid player, which is nothing wrong being a solid player. But it has been interesting to see him develop as a player.
And when
he certainly now is has, in my mind, improved a lot as a player. And you will see every now and again through the night he will make a little move, he'll do a little extra play. So he's got that other dimension. So although he's very solid, he's got the reputation of being solid. He knows that other players know he's solid. So
now he can mix it up a little bit.
But every now and again he will suddenly he'll take advantage of this reputation. But it's not too often, so it's very hard for you to spot out, is this just a solid play from Snap It when he's got the business, or is this the odd time that he's going to make the move? And if you don't know, you're now executing it perfectly. Yeah. Because you're being deceptive.
He's confusing his opponent.
Exactly.
And when do you get to the point in your game where you can start mixing it up? It's when you have to be quite advanced, don't you?
Well, you have to have confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you can start trying different things. But it's very much a matter of knowing what people think of your type of play, which will help you to know where you are in a hand. Okay, this is the last one I think here. We'll have a look at this. It's a raise from Gold Snake to 4. And Cat Attack calls.
Hits ace.
3 overcards for the 7. I'm sure the 7s hates it. He's got a club in his hand, however. It's actually given him a flush draw. Well, I don't understand this by Cat Attack. He's just checked every time. If you call with ace-9 and hit your ace, what have you been waiting for? I mean, certainly on the turn he could have had a bet there, and he should have actually charged the guy in case he had a club to take. Don't let him have a free draw to flush draw. So on the turn there, I think he was too passive. He should have actually said, listen, the guy checked on the flop. He didn't like it that much. When the turn came, he should have bet in case the guy had a club to stop him getting a free flush. But he didn't, so a little bit passive there.
Okay, I'm going to get an email from Andy James, and he wants your help. He's trying to organise a rebuy tournament for a home game for 10 players. Every player will start off with 100 chips. Rebuys will last for the first hour and a half, with one add-on at the end of this. The blind structure for the rebuy period is 1 to 2 for the first half hour, 2 to 4 for the next, then 3-6 for the next. Add-ons will only be for those with less than 200 in chips. I want the freeze-out period to last for a further 4 to 5 hours, but with the variable number of chips in play, how can I work out a structure that will give the game lots of play, but not make it drag on for days? Any help would be much appreciated. And he says, P.S. last night I was short-stacked in an MTT, but I won 6 all-ins in a row and ended up on the final table. Just goes to show you should never give up.
I'll tell you what, regarding this structure here, let me just have a little look at the structure here in the break, rather than just trying to snap one off from the top of my head for you here. Yeah. I'd prefer to do that. So I'll have a little look at that in the break, and we'll come back to you on that one.
And have a good think about it. But trying to organise a home game there. I've also got,
keep that one for us.
Yeah, we'll look at that in more detail for you. Also, Will says, I just thought I'd tell you about my flopped straight flush earlier tonight. Queen high of hearts, won a bit of cash with it too. And he says, life is a peach.
Very tasty hand, I have to admit. Flopping a straight flush. Wow, it doesn't happen too often, does it?
Not very often.
Brilliant. So that was from Will. Well done, Will.
Yeah, well done. Good stuff. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. It's amateur night tonight, so please do get in touch with us. You decide what we talk about on this show, whatever game, part of your game you want to try and improve on, and get those questions coming through. James is here to help you. Yeah, please send in the emails and texts. We love to have loads of them. Anything you've got to talk about, anything funny which happened to you, anything, just pop those questions into us. We're hungry for them. We are. The text number, if you need it, just put the word poker at the front of your message and send your question to 84222, 84222. Or you can email those questions as well, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And also, if you want to have a look at our website, find more info about the show, it's www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Great forum there as well, and also a private members league going off, which we've been watching the MTT tonight. Good stuff there. Plenty more to come, and don't forget we'll be watching Lyndsay playing. All I want is to know that I did the right thing, even if I went out. I'm not bothered. But we're not going to discuss it till it happens. No, we'll find out after the break. But before that, Mike Lacey's back on the phone as well. Well, we're going to take another break very soon, but we've got Mike Lacey back on the phone. Hi, Mike.
Hi there.
How are you doing? You're over in Ireland at the moment. We were talking to you earlier on about the Irish Open, which is coming up this weekend, so it's going to be a massive weekend. Can you tell us a bit more about the structure of the tournament and how it's all going to work?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to most big events now. You get 10,000 chips to start with, so you have plenty to play with, and then the blinds are going to be an hour long all the way through. It's a 3-day event, so there's plenty of time to get to the final table. The blinds start at the usual 25 and 50, so early on it's going to be an interesting time to build chips with the small blinds.
Yep. And later on, do you have running antes?
There is a running ante coming in. I can't remember which level it is. Actually, last year the Irish Open had 3 blinds and no running ante, which was
novel.
It was novel. It happens in Ireland quite often, or it used to. It's sort of phased out now. It confused a few players at first, I think, when they were playing that structure. It certainly made the play a lot different because virtually every 33% of the hands you're in a blind of some kind.
I've never heard of that happening before.
No, I have heard of it. In fact, it was a method which was recommended for cash games, I think, by even possibly Slansky, I think.
Yeah, I've seen it somewhere in cash games before. But,
and the reason was, of course, that it made the cash game more lively because, as you said, 3 people are involved in the pot already. Then the next person, it's more likely that he can say, oh, I'll have a look at this pot because there's already a bit of money in there to start with. But I don't like it for a tournament, I must admit. No,
well, there was quite a lot of people didn't like it, but there were some people did like it because it created a lot of action. So the action players thought it was a good way of playing the tournament. But it's very popular in America to straddle the blinds, so you have 3 or 4 blinds out at the beginning anyway.
It's very popular in the northeast of England to straddle the blinds, I can tell you. But not just a straddle, we have straddle, another straddle, another straddle.
Well, I was in the Bahamas there 2 years ago playing, and we straddled the whole way around the table, so I don't know if that's been beaten.
Sounds interesting.
I confess it's happened in the northeast as well. When they get wild too.
Same everywhere.
I must admit, going back to the tournament structure, I do like these tournaments. I mean, it sounds like a great structure, 10,000 chips, hour-long clock, and I do like actually moving into the running antes because it does enable the tournament to smooth out the rise of the blinds.
Yeah, well, antes weren't that popular over here until maybe a year or so ago. One of the companies that runs some big tournaments in hotels have them in their structure a lot, so it was a case of a while ago where the players over here really didn't know how to play that kind of tournament. But a lot of the online sites seem to have put running antes in as well. So I think most people are used to it now, but it does take a different kind of playing.
It does. It adds I quite like that, though. I took part in the tournament in Austria, which I think has got a great structure. I mean, that's actually a 4-day tournament, and they bring in the running antes, and I think it's great. I think it just it brings another element to the game, and which I think is good. But it does save the steep incline of the blinds. It can be smoothed down because the next level can be an increase in the ante rather than another rise in the blinds or a smaller rise in the blinds.
Yeah, no, it does have that effect as well. I mean, I like playing with an ante, but a lot of people don't realise exactly how much is in the pot when an ante's there. And you find some people, if they're trying to steal, they don't raise enough and things like that. And there's some interesting situations come up that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a great point there. I like that. I think our listeners can bear that in mind, is when there are antes there, don't just get in the habit of doing a normal size 3 times the blind raise or whatever, because this is probably not enough because you haven't taken into account the running antes in the middle. So a great point there, Mike. So you're helping to educate our viewers as well.
As long as they're not playing in the Irish Open.
And what do you think your chances are, Mike?
Well, this is probably the 5th event of this size I've played. I've cashed in 1 so far, so I've got unlucky in the rest, as everybody else does when they get knocked out of a tournament. I've never been knocked out through my own bad play, honestly.
Of course not, of course not.
But there is some interesting betting markets on it as well. That's something that's increased in popularity at the moment. And I think there's a lot of different bookmakers doing the odds for this particular tournament.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do well, Mike. I'm sure you'll do well. We're going to have to go to another break, but we'll speak to you again later on. Stick around, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. It's Lyndsay and James Browning with you till 2 o'clock, watching live online poker. Before we went to the break, we had an email off Andy who wanted James's help with the rebuy tourney. He was trying to organise a home game.
Oh yes, he was running a home game. He's going to start with 100 chips. He's going to start off with the blinds 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, half-hour levels. So there's a good lot of play there. He's going to have rebuys. He's going to have add-ons restricted to having, if you've got 200 chips left, 200 or less chips. Well, first of all, I don't think you should restrict the add-on there anyway. I think you should let people just have an add-on anyway. I don't think there's any need to restrict the add-on. So if someone wants the add-on, they can have it. That'd be my first point. Next point is then, you want the tournament to go on for another 4 or 5 hours in the basic freeze-out part, i.e. the bit when the rebuys are finished. I would just think there you can actually go, just with a normal progression there, you can go to, quite slowly, you can go 4-8, 5-10, and then from the 5-10, you're going to take one leap, and that's a 5-10 to the 10-20. That's quite a severe leap, but after that, you can now carry on just moving up in the small blind in increments of 5. So you can go 15-30, 20-40, 25-50, 30-60, 35-70. If, after 4 hours, you really thought this might be dragging a little bit, I don't think it will as it happens, you could actually then include a running ante, and that'll soon help to finish the tournament off. So I hope that helps.
Yes, hope that helps you, Andy. Good luck with it, and do let us know how it goes.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see how it goes.
We'd like
but
to
I think you should have a lot of fun with that.
But good luck with it. If you've got any questions that you'd like to send through to the studio, we're, as always, live and fully interactive. You can text us. 84222 is our text number. Put the word poker at the start of your message, 84222, or you can email, and there's the address on your screen. It's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Rightio, it's the moment of truth.
It's time.
It's the Beat the Presenter tourney. Without further ado, we're going to head over to the game and have a look how we got on.
It's Lyndsay time.
There we go. Started off. So there's Craven there. We had Dead Spiders as well, and Farce on the table.
Robo Squirrel.
Very tight table this
Wow,
James.
you got a tough field there.
Very tight.
Let's see what goes on. Sausages. Just makes up a small blind. So
Craven's hit his pair of sixes.
yeah, he's got 2 pairs, 8s and 6s. Bet 16 to a pot of 60. Farce says no, and Sausages says no. Craven says I'm chip leader. Lyndsay Horne, Queen 10 suited, under the gun, decides to limp in.
Not a good idea, really.
Well, you've got the whole field to survive this play with.
Yeah.
Are you going to be calling a raise?
We'll find out. There's the raise from Dead Spiders.
Well, a raise of 60, so it's a small raise, 3 times the big blind. Called by Nick N. Oh my goodness, called by Sausages. Well, funny enough now, it's actually giving you probably value.
Put it down.
Okay, well, okay, interesting flop here. We've got Dead Spiders, hit the trip queens. Nick N checks. Pair of 7s thinks it's winning, thinks it's weakness. Of course, it's not weakness. Dead Spiders has got the business. Trip queens just calls as well. Really plays to get the money here, Dead Spiders. See what happens here. And checked it there. No improvement for Sausages. Dead Spiders very happy. There's no nothing out there apart from a possible straight, but he doesn't imagine 4-7 is there.
And he took ages there, looking like he had quite a weak hand. He was thinking about...
Right, what I would say there was, if you're going to limp with Queen 10 under the gun...
Yes.
And you're then going to pass to a raise of 60...
It's no point.
what chance have you got to survive all the way round without anyone raising?
Yeah.
So what?
There was no point.
What value did you have for your 20?
Fold it or raise.
What value did you have for that 20?
Nothing.
No. Right.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, as there suddenly were quite a few callers there, and it was only 40 for you to call, you actually then probably had value to call.
To see the flop.
Because you might have pinged a straight, you might have pinged a flush.
Yeah.
Now, you wouldn't have done, it doesn't matter, because what would have happened is not what we're bothered about.
Yes.
Okay, but do you get the point on that one?
Yeah, no, I do, definitely.
Okay, great. Okay, you were just on the big blind here, weren't you? And
yes.
Look at this, Craven's clicked trip 6s. And it's against trip 2s. It's a disaster waiting to happen, isn't it? But there's a club there as well, and Craven's even got a club. Nick hasn't got, he might be worried about that flush. But no, he bets 120. Now Craven might be worried by the flush. No, knows that he's winning. Re-raises to 240. Well, this would be an amazing escape if he got away from this. Very difficult.
No.
Well, is he going to be able to find a way? He's checked it. Very good. Very good. And now it might be down to Craven just to charge him a price. He might save some chips. Yes, indeed, that's what's happened. And there we go. Well done, Nick N. He actually minimised his loss there, and he still kept some chips.
He could have gone out there.
He could have gone out there, so we've got to give him good marks.
Yeah.
He's very unlucky to walk into a train crash, i.e. trip 2s against trip 6s.
Yes.
But well done. Look, he kept some chips.
The clubs maybe helped him there.
Whatever helped him,
It
respect to him for saving chips.
Yeah.
And I often say that if you think all of a sudden you're in a train crash, well, let the other person charge you rather than you charge yourself and just put all your chips in.
So you did well to check at the end
Very good,
there,
yes. So we're praising the guy who lost there as well. Well done to the guy who won it. You made sure you got paid something. Nothing wrong with what you did. You didn't know how strong your opponent was. As it happens, Nick M would have called all his money, I think. Anyway, he's suddenly got some chips back there. He's got 550. Lyndsay there, she's picked up ace-5 offsuit on the button. We'll see what happens with the betting here. Oops, they're passing. Oh, Fast has limped in. Lyndsay now with a decision.
See, one of the things that got flagged up in my last Beat the Presenter tourney was that I was playing too many bad aces.
Right.
That's why I'm trying to...
If you were going to play that one on the button, I think it's fine for you to put it down. If you were to play it, you should have only played it with a raise anyway.
Right.
So you should have just raised.
Yeah.
And represented strength. But I think it's fine at this stage. You're not in trouble. I think it's fine just to put it down.
Yeah, I was playing with a lot of bad aces the last time, and it was one of the things I noticed when I watched it back.
Well, because you're a newish player, it's difficult playing with ace and a small kicker. You've got to be really a very good judge of where you are in a pot.
Yeah.
And so the more obscure the hands are that you play with, the harder it is to play them. Right, 5 ace 5. People are hitting trips for fun in this game so far. Dead Spider there, who does like to play any 2 cards, but however this time he had no choice because he was on the big blind, has got trip 5s. And Nick N there, unlucky for him, has hit the top pair. He's bet 60. And it's a re-raise from Dead Spiders.
Nick's not sure where his ace stands now. He gets away from it again.
Dead Spiders with his trip 5s. If he'd hit a 7 kicker, would he have been a house spider? Pair of jacks for sausages.
He's been a deadly spider so far.
He has been a deadly spider, yeah. And we saw some deadly plays from him in the multi-table tournament as well. They doesn't want to tangle there, and he lets sausages take down the blinds. Ah, we've got a pair for Lyndsay.
But look what I'm walking into.
Raised, yes. Well, this is nothing you can do. You're against the big blind. How can you know? But you've made it 120. That is a big raise. You've gone 6 times the big blind. Any reason for that?
I just thought I wanted to push them off with it because 10s, even though it was good, it wasn't.
Right, but now you've called the re-raise, and what do you think they're there with at this stage? Can we freeze this?
I was hoping it was something like ace, jack, ace, queen, and they would.
Right. The problem is there. One, I think you over-raised.
Yeah.
So you're less likely to want to get away from it in a way.
Right. Because I'd already committed.
Right. But however, let's take the point that you have raised. You've raised 6 times a big blind. You're actually saying, you know, we don't think you've got 7-2 offsuit here, do we?
Yeah.
Well, okay, you've declared you've got a hand. Now the guy re-raises you.
Yeah.
And now he likes the flop as well. Okay, it was a good flop for you, but what is going through your mind that he's got now? Do you think you've possibly walked into something?
I didn't think he had a made pair. I thought he was drawn to something like ace, king, ace,
or did you
queen.
think, oh, he's trying to bluff me, he's trying to bluff me?
Well, I do always...
Did that run through your mind?
It did, yeah, it did.
Right, well, stop and think. Stop and think, because people generally aren't doing that.
Yeah.
More times than not, when they are wanting to put all their chips in a pot, they've got a good hand.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you've got 1 pair. And to lose that many chips with 1 pair early, I'm not keen on it.
Yeah.
And I think you didn't control the size of the pot with it. I think in that you had position, you didn't have to put so much in.
No.
You could have...
And that made me want to carry on with it.
Yeah, exactly. So you've now put yourself in bad shape very early. You've just fallen in love. To me, you've lost 2/3 of your stack with 1 pair, a pair of 10s.
Very poor.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
Overplayed it.
I agree.
I think overplayed it. So, okay, a bit harsh maybe, but I didn't like your limp with the queen 10 in early position. Now, this is different now. You've now just got 320, and that's great. I like it. Brilliant. Because this is a different situation. You're in big trouble now. You can't put part of your money in and then wonder what to do next. You just put it in there and say, listen, if anyone wants to fight me now, good luck. And I like that.
I decided at that point
I like it.
I wanted a hand to push
Very
in with.
good. So, okay, I'm giving you top marks for that. Oh, you don't want to see a spade? Oh, and there's no spade, there's no ace, there's no jack, and Lyndsay's got kings and 10s. And well done, you've got some chips back there. So, 1 pair of 10s I thought you played badly. The next one I thought you played perfectly. And that was the right thing to do in relation to the size of your chips.
Yeah, I needed a hand to try
to double up. The other one, in relation to the size of your chips, you overplayed.
Yeah,
really.
A lot.
And you didn't listen, you asked questions.
And didn't listen to the answers.
Not at all. And bear in mind, you asked quite a big question to start with.
Yeah.
And they gave you an answer to that. And you still ignored them.
Yeah.
Difficult, I know.
No, it's true.
But listen, and if you put it down and you were wrong, so what? Because it's not the end of the world.
And it's still very early on.
They could have made you pass with ace-king. So what? They could have hit an ace and a king anyway. So what?
Yeah.
Because to be able to pass losing hands, you're going to sometimes pass winning hands. Yeah. No problem. But in poker, you want to be putting your money in when you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
At least when you had the 320, you knew what you were doing. Say, well, I'm committing. Good luck. If you want to play me, I haven't got time to muck around. You knew what you were doing. But you played that other pair of 10s not really knowing where you were.
Yeah.
So, well done.
It's just because he did that in early position.
Well done. Excellent. Look at that. Lyndsay, a small blind, ace-jack. In fact, it's the hand I talked about earlier. I didn't know you had that one earlier.
Yeah.
I said I'd be far more inclined to put a raise in with ace-jack than call with ace-jack. Do you remember I said that? I didn't know that, and that's exactly what you did there. Under the gun, put in the raise. You thought ace-jack. I'm not that well off in chips. It's not my time. I don't want to just be a caller. I'd rather be a better. Yeah. And that was a great
I thought
pass.
if nothing had been done before that, I would have...
Well impressed. Well impressed. And that was an improvement in your game because if anything, if I remember rightly, I think you had a tendency before to often be calling with some substandard stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in the blinds, if I remember rightly. So I think that's a major improvement. Okay. So I'm giving you good praise for that.
I needed it after those 10s.
No,
I'm embarrassed watching it back.
Yeah. No, this is very difficult.
It's good though, it's good.
There's a lot of people who would have done that, but you've got to be good enough to get away from that. As I said, and don't be shy if you've made the wrong mistake and they've got nothing. If they've got 7-2 and they've got you off it, well done, they've just made a good play. They've outplayed you on that hand, so what? Because you're saving your moment for where you say, I think I know where I am now, and that's when I want to play. When I'm in control is when I want to play, not when I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's worse that I did it so early on in the tournament as well.
Well, it took a lot of risk for, you know, if you were wrong, you were very wrong. That was the problem. Lyndsay 3-jack, doesn't want to know. Robo got the ace-4 late in the cut-off position, decides to limp in. I don't mind that at early stages. Blinds are only in the second level, 20-40. If you're good enough to know how to play after the flop, that's fine. Hoping to connect. And the dead spider's there. He does like to play all sorts of hands. He's got a pair this time. He says, well, I think it's weakness out there. I think I'm winning. I don't want to see another card because every card looks dangerous to a 3. He took the right moment, he bet. Then he goes up to 1600, so a good play by him. Lyndsay 10-7 early position, quite correctly throws that away.
Not a lot for anyone there.
No, there's not. Sausages. He's got less than Craven. He says, listen, you can have the big blind, and he passes. And I think that's fine. He doesn't want to get into a battle of the blinds at this stage. He's got above average chips already. The average is obviously 1,000 because that's what we started with. Sausages has 1270. He doesn't need to fight Craven, who's got 1600 on substandard hands, feeling in the dark. It's not the time for that.
Yeah.
There might be a time later on. This is not the time for that.
Yeah.
Again, this is the time for knowing where you are.
Yeah.
And it's all down to risk-reward ratio. And pre-flop folds, Lyndsay there has been selective, 83%, same as Gan. Dead Spider's actually more selective than I thought than it feels. Robo likes to call, and that's why he's on the 50%. Back to the game. And it's a raise from Craven to 120. 3 times the big blind. Lyndsay can't call that and doesn't. She's slipping down now to 570 though.
And I'm going through a run of bad cards at the moment.
And the blinds are still only the second level. And Nick N, he's decided his time is now. He's got a pair of 5s, and I think that's fine. He's got enough chips to get people to put it down. He's gained 60 there, which in fact to him was quite significant. It was in fact increased his stack by a 6. And now look at this, he's got more ammo. The blinds have gone up. Yes, and he's played it correctly. Good play from Nick N. He's pushed with the ace-10. 120 on top of 420. Very nice. 540 if he gets the blinds. And if he gets called and doubles up, even better. But he doesn't. He gets to 120, and there we are. He's marched to 540. A whisker behind Lyndsay. And Craven, Queen 8 suited. But Dead Spider's lurking there. With his big hand. And is Robo going to try something? Oh my good, he tries suicide.
Oops.
And there we go. He's pushed with an ace, and he's very unlucky. He walks into American Airlines. Probably a lot of hands would have folded there, but it wasn't going to fold a pair of aces. And we've lost a player.
Yeah,
we've lost a dangerous player, Robo.
Saved me from being the first one out.
Well, Robo, I've been there. I've done that myself at times, but probably not in the early stages of a tournament because those blinds aren't quite tempting enough. I don't think you were quite desperate enough there because it was coming round to late position for you where it wasn't terrible what you did though, not terrible. Unlucky just the one guy, you played against the one blind guy, you had a monster. You did have an ace. Of course it was less likely you had aces because you owned one of them. Sausages. Oh, he says, I'm not passing every time to you. He's made it 280. course he is. In fact, because he has passed the small blind before, that of course gives even more credibility to you when you do make a move.
Yeah.
Because people say, oh, he doesn't make a move all the time with it, he's quite selective.
Yes.
So if you give the impression of being selective anyway, then
you get respect.
You get respect, which gives you now the possibility to make plays. Because it's your table image.
Yeah.
Well, Farce has just called with the 8s, but look at that. What a dream. This is what dreams are made of. Flop the trips and have your opponent flop the top pair with the top kicker.
I can't believe how many trips there's been in this game so far.
Trip City.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Oh, and look at that. Didn't wait any longer. Got the chips in. There we go.
Full house.
Full house. 3 8s, 2 queens against kings and queens. Wonderful hand there for Fast Bandit. Brilliant. What a dream. Lyndsay, 3-4 on the big blind. Disappointing, I think she said. Fast Bandit. Jack 10 suited. Got some chips now. Yes. Decides to ask the question. Lyndsay says no. Well, time is getting nigh for Lyndsay now because we see that each round is going to cost you 120 chips.
It's eating away at
and
me
if
now.
we look into your stack now, you've got 430. So if we divide the 430 by 120, we can see that we've got less than 4. So you've got less than an M of 4. M being the your stack divided by the total of the blinds. Now, I think you should be doing something, and I don't like the price of the bet. You won it? Sorry, don't like it.
Okay.
What should you have done?
Pushed it all in.
Exactly. Because what have you got left?
Yeah.
And it's not the greatest of hands. You're quite happy to take those blinds, aren't you? So
Yeah.
use the extra muscle and say, okay, don't let them think they can get you off the hand or something stupid. Say, there you go, take that.
Yeah.
So
just pushed it in
that one
there,
should have pushed.
yeah.
You didn't have enough to play tricky.
Yeah.
You've got to have enough ammo to be able to do bets with raises. Once you reach a certain stage where you haven't got enough to play with. Okay, leaderboard, dead spiders. Let's get back to this hand as quick as we can because we've got an ace-6, oh, pairs raised. You had ace-6 suited. I think you're right to pass to that big raise there. Nothing wrong there. But good for spying the opportunity. You saw you were in position. You saw that you were just against blinds.
Just, yeah. I know what you mean. I didn't have enough chips. There was no point.
It was too tricky a bet. Okay, you might well have put the rest of your chips in anyway. But why give them why even tempt them? You know, it's not like you've got a hand you particularly want to tempt them in with.
I just wanted the blind.
The blind is good enough. You don't want to tempt them
Yeah,
in.
of
So
course.
someone might think, oh, I might be able to push her off if I re-raise, or I might be able to do this, I might be able to do that. Not really what you want.
Yeah.
So, and you don't want to have to make any decisions. What if they just call? And now what if they bet on the flop and you've missed it? Very hard for you now, isn't it? You're giving yourself awkward...
All sorts of problems I'm
Yes.
letting myself in for,
So
yeah.
you're better to get rid of those problems.
Yeah.
Right. Miserable cards again on the big blind. And the blinds have gone up. It's 81.60, so now it's very tough, isn't it? 240 around, and the king 10 has gone all in with 500. Well, you don't want to call with that. Correct decision there. And, well...
I did think about this,
no,
but
not for calling.
not when that happened.
No, not for calling. I was just wondering there to see what happened. I mean, if it had come round to my small blind, I could well have just pushed against the big blind there. But just thinking there might be a faint chance of pass. But no, quite. I wouldn't call with it. And now I've got my finger on the button, looking for opportunities.
Yeah, I know those blinds are coming back round very quickly, down to 430.
Okay, you've just got a few hands. I could have actually been, to tell the truth, although it would have probably been called and I'd have been favoured to have lost, I could have been I don't want to call that either, by the way. I could have been tempted to have pushed actually with the Jack-3, funny enough, just purely on position, because it meant I was just against the blinds, nothing else, and I might well have pushed in your situation there. Because in that situation, with the amount of chips you got there, I'd be playing position just as much as cards.
Okay.
And now...
It's getting desperate.
It's getting desperate. And the trouble is, a lot of people are betting, and you haven't really got calling hands. Oh, you've got one. Well, here we go. I think you're going to push here. You do, and you have the advantage here. You might capture some dead money from the two people there with the 160 and the 80. So that's a wonderful situation for you. Now, you've got added money in the pot. What a dream situation.
Yay.
Look at that. You've hit 2 pair. Life is sweet. Fantastic.
Felt a bit better then.
And what a wonderful bargain you got there, because you had the small blind and big blind, which was 81.60, followed by the raise by Fast Bandit. You now re-raise, although it's not much money. It's enough to knock out the 2 people on the blinds, left the extra money in the pot, and you were favourite, heads up, you were favoured over the King-Queen anyway, getting odds to your money.
Yeah.
What a dream.
Good hand at the right time.
Yes, timing was perfect. And you've now followed up with another miserable hand on the big blind.
Exactly, I keep getting awful hands on the big blind.
Yeah, you just look in there and you think, how do I keep on picking up such rubbish?
Hopefully lots of things our new players can pick up on from watching my game.
Blinds are up now to 163.20.
Yeah.
Had you made any notes yet?
I'm not sure if I made them. I think Gan wasn't getting the cards. He was getting frustrated.
Right.
That he wasn't getting anything, and Dead Spiders was getting hands, and Fast was raising when he had good hands and was being really aggressive. So she.
Right.
So you're trying to build up a little picture of the players you were going
But not playing many hands, but playing aggressively when she was.
Okay. Well, that was expensive blinds for you there. Knocked you back down to 780 after having tickled over the 1,000 before. And there's still 7 players left. Look at this. We're on 163.20 and we're still on 7 players. It's incredibly tight,
Doesn't normally happen, does it?
I know it happens a lot on the Beat the Commentator.
Yeah, oh yeah,
People don't want to go out.
But in general, in normal games, there'll be a lot fewer players than this. But it was a very tight table.
Yeah, I went and played a couple of sit and goes just actually after one time, just after being on Beat the Commentator, whatever. I went and played a couple just to see, and sure enough, it was back to normal stuff where people. I think I played 2 second goes. I came second and third, funny enough, and it was like bing. There was people falling like flies early on. You know what I mean? It's quite amazing. Well, King Queen.
Oh, they're very careful when they know everyone's going to be watching them.
Well done. I like it. Good push. And you've got sausages covered, so you've got a free dog's life if you get unlucky. You don't want to see a jack or a queen, or you don't want to see a diamond. Oh, there's a lot of cards there now. Oh no, it's gone runner flush. That is cruel, isn't it? But there were quite a lot of cards there.
Look what I wrote about sausages. Jammy with a capital J.
Oh, and you've gone all in now with your... Right, okay, I don't mind that because ace is better than you could have hoped to get on the big blind. I think that's good judgment from you. Well done. Well done. Because that's all you've got to think of. It's my big blind next. Is this hand better than an average hand? Oh, you've hit the 4.
The 4, yeah.
And, well, there might be life in this yet. And there we go. Well done.
I'm hanging on by
No, but I like you. And there's a 920, but you picked the right time. You judged that perfectly. That was very good. And you were very unlucky on the other hand there. That was cruel, wasn't it? If you'd won that one, it'd have been great shape. Now, Nick N, oh, here we go, it's gone 740. And for you, it's 420 to call. 420. Hang on. 420. 480. 60. 1240. 420 into 1240.
Look.
And you weren't. Oh, ace queen 6. Oh. Yeah, cruel. You had a better hand there, and you down. Yeah, very cruel. But
I was back down to 400 though, so I had to put it in then.
Yes, no, nothing wrong with that. It's in fact what I'm looking at is the hand before, but we'll talk about that in a second. Craven there, pushed it all in with a pair of 5s. You should definitely call here.
Might as well.
No, you have to, because the reason is you get the extra 60s from the other people who get knocked out.
Yeah.
So you get the extra money. That's the reason you have to call. And you're unlucky there, you got 2 overcards, but it was perfect time to call. Do you understand why you were right to call?
Because
there?
I wasn't just going to double up my money. I had callers before that.
Yeah,
so
you're actually going to get quadruple your. Well, you're going to get 3 more 60s in there. You're going to get the 60 from the 2 blinds and the 60 from Craven.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up with a pot of 240, which is what you need. What I'm looking at is when Nick N went all in.
Yes.
You were on the big blind. You only had 420 to call him.
Right.
And you weren't all in. It would have left you money.
Yeah.
Because you had. You still had. I forget how much you had left. You still had money.
I had about 900 then.
Yes, altogether you did. Yes.
Yeah.
So you still had a few hundred left anyway.
Yeah.
And actually, there was 1240 in the middle, so you were basically getting virtually 3 to 1 your money. That might well have been a call there, I think.
Right.
Because a lot of times...
Just because of the value?
Yeah. As it happens, I think he did have you pretty dominated.
Very much so, yeah.
But still, you weren't 3 to 1 against. You were only 11 to 4 against. Did he have something like a...
Did he not have King Queen?
And you against your King 2 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were 27% to win the hand anyway or something.
Right.
So ace... Or was it... Oh, someone said it might be ace Queen against King 2. Oh, ace King is it ace 2, that's right, that's what we thought. Ace King against King 2. So you still had 27% chance even there, believe it or not.
Right.
And, which is virtually spot on the money you were getting. And you'd have had money left. That might, I think...
Maybe.
But it mightn't have been as bad as that. Because he could have had ace Queen, say, against King 2. And now you'd have had 36% chance of winning.
Yeah.
Now you're only just less than 6 to 4 against and getting 3 to 1 your money. Pretty tasty. So as a package, I think that was actually a call there.
I wasn't looking at what was in the pot.
No, I think you just looked at
the
your
value,
hand.
yeah.
So therefore, we'd gone back to sort of a little bit beginner status, just looking at my cards. King 2 doesn't look very nice pass, but you didn't give it much thought.
Yeah.
So I would have to say that was a bit naughty. You should have thought of the overall picture.
Yeah.
And done your sums and say, have I got money left? Oh, what's this? And what happens if I win that? Because this is a pot here. If you then call with your 420, we're now talking about 1660. On top of your 200 or 300 left, you're now probably up to, you're now way above average chips. This could have been your moment.
Could have put me right back in the
Well,
tournament.
no, put you just about second place in the tournament.
Yeah.
Do you understand the principle?
Yeah, oh yeah, no,
I'm not
I
saying
do.
it fully shouldn't, but I'm saying it needed, there's no
It
way.
needed more
There's no way were you
consideration.
good enough just to decide pass like that.
Yeah.
Because it should have been, that should have been, you should have been down to the timer button working that one out.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you did some good plays.
Some shockers as well.
Not shockers.
The 10s at the start.
Do you think you overplayed them?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
I was watching it back. It was cringe, really, because I knew after it.
And you didn't really. And when you think about it, what's he still there with? I'm not really thinking. Or I'm just putting.
I wasn't. That's the thing. I wasn't thinking at the time.
You're on automatic
but,
pilot. You had but you're basically looking at 2 cards. So that looks a nice hand. I'll play that. So you'd gone back to beginner level, just looking at your cards, not really thinking what was going on around you.
Yeah.
Can't be right, can it? Limping under with Queen 10.
expecting to, under the gun, expecting to get all the way around the table? And you're going to pass to a raise of 60?
Well, so there was just no point.
No.
If I'd raised with it, that would have been okay.
But too early to do anything like that. So that would be wrong as well.
Just put it down.
Yeah. But then once it came round, there was a raise, a call.
Then there was value.
Now you didn't consider that. Because again, you just looked at it, it's a bit of a, I shouldn't have been in there with anyway, pass. But no, because now you didn't look at the picture, because you say, hang on, there's 60, 60, 60, plus there was the 2 blinds, so that's 30, that's 180, 210, plus your 20, 230.
Yeah.
You only had to put 40 in.
Yeah.
You're getting nearly 6 to 1 your money. With a hand now, you'll know if you've hit with it.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to get away from it. Now, you can't pass for 40.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can,
right.
yeah.
So that's good. So we've learned that as well. 1, I think it was wrong to get in there in the first place. But 2, things changed.
Yeah.
Raise, call. Things have changed because you suddenly are getting value.
It was worth having a look at the flop for another 40.
So although that's interesting, isn't it? Part of poker. 1, I say, I think that was a bad call. 2, I now think you should call. Oh, how strange. It's because the situation is forever changing.
Yeah.
And what happened to start with has to be wiped out. And we look at the next puzzle, the next situation.
Yeah. So that's lesson 1 for tonight. Look at what's in the pot and what value I'm getting.
Okay. And don't overplay a middle pair.
Yeah. And when I
get a middle pair, it's a pair of 10s.
Answers to my big raise.
If there's an ace, a king, a queen, or a jack and a flop, you don't like it. This is this pair. It isn't a monster. It's nice if you hit a 10. But it's not a monster, is it?
No.
You played it like it was the crown jewels.
Yeah. I did just get carried away with the hand, definitely.
But you got low. Next pair of 10s you pushed. Magnificent. You picked the right time. And in fact, your judgment on when you should make plays was great. One I thought was slightly wrong, although you got the chips. Can you remember? Late position?
When I just raised and I should have pushed all in.
You didn't have enough money to raise, and you should have just pushed there. But the other times I thought ace 4, your big blind next, you thought, no, I've got to go now. It's not great, but I've got to go. Yes, perfect timing. So the rest of it I was very pleased with.
Okay. Lots to take away, though, from that, definitely.
And I enjoyed watching you, and I think hopefully, you know, you and the viewers have taken away something from that.
Well, I have, definitely. I just hope it's flagged up issues that maybe affect a lot of the viewers' games and has helped them as well.
Yeah.
But no, definitely a lot to take away from that. It's so good watching these back and having every hand analysed. There's nothing better, I don't think.
No, we're just like, well, no, hopefully that is the case.
But each time I'm sort of trying to take something away. The first time I was being far too weak and wasn't being aggressive and wasn't pushing in. So that was the first thing I was going to try and do when I did have the cards and I was pretty low, to be more aggressive.
In the last 3 now, we're in the money. Craven, Sausages and Gan. And Gan's whacked it, but he's in bad shape now because Sausages, he's only got an overcard, the ace. Oh, he gets the 4, but that's not good enough because a pair of 5s beats a pair of 4s every time. And Gan's back to his starting stack of 1,000. So Sausages. Blinds are 640, 1280. Not much play here. Just made it up. Well, he's raised. What are you going to do, Sausages? Well, I don't know if you can afford to... I don't think you can possibly afford to call with 640 and then put it down. I mean, in fact, if he wants to play, I think the moral there was, if you want to play that small blind hand with Jack 10, then you push with it straight away yourself.
Just all in with it.
Yeah, because then you might get the guy to pass. But, they would say to buy to Gan there, King 10. Well, it's all gone wrong for Gan. Went wrong to start with the ace 4 the big way against the 5s, and King 10 didn't connect.
Came up against the Jack.
Now Sausages is now having to push it with Jack 3, whereas before he passed the Jack 10. What a strange game.
Craven's
and it's a pair of 7s. He's hit the 3. He needs a Jack or a 3. He doesn't get it. The winner is Craven.
There you go.
And Sausages, I think you squandered 640 with that Jack 10 when you made up the small blind. I think you should have either passed or committed your chips.
not call the small blind and then pass. I think that was a big error there. You could not afford to do it. That was a big percentage of your chips, one thing or the other.
Wow.
There's our little chip graph there, and it was really complicated at the end there. It looked like a string of coloured spaghetti.
I enjoyed that anyway. Good to look back and analyse every hand, and lots of lessons learned, I hope, for everyone as well as me.
Is it buzzing around in your head?
Yes, it is, it is. Quite embarrassed by some of it, but there you go. I've got an email from Sam P.
Oh.
Who says, super show as always, I've got a very big question. I play a lot of cash poker at £1, £2 blinds level, and I'm making a substantial profit. Last night I was involved in a hand, which is what I'm emailing you about. I was dealt a pair of aces on the button. I raised to £6 and only the big blind called. So aces on the button, he raised to £6 and only the big blind called. The flop came 2 ace-6 rainbow. I was absolutely dreaming because I'd hit trips. My opponent bet, which I called. The turn was a jack of hearts. He bet, which I raised this time, and he called. The river was a 9 of hearts. There were now 3 hearts on the board and £98 in the pot. He pushed all in for another £103. I called and lost to ace king of hearts with the flush. He had the flush. Was I right to call? I didn't call immediately because of his strong betting throughout the duration of the hand. I just didn't put him on the flush.
Yes, I think you're rather unfortunate here. You know, you've got the aces, you've clicked trip aces. The guy wants to bet into you. So in a way, you don't really think he's got the ace for a start. Do you think maybe he's got probably an overpair to the 6? He might have a pair of 10s or jacks or something. That's probably more likely, obviously, than him owning the other ace. Along comes the jack of hearts. This actually puts 2 hearts out there. Now stop and rethink, because now you have a look at the whole board and then have a look at your hand and then say, hang on, the missing ace is actually the ace of hearts. And I don't think you even thought of that. So check that out. What is the missing ace? Now go back and have a rethink about what hand your opponent maybe has. So now that has to come into the equation, because he did bet into this flop of ace 2-6. So now you might say, actually, it's possible he did have that ace there. So you should bear your mind. So I think on the turn, what was his betting on the turn, Lyndsay?
The turn was a jack of hearts. He bet, which I raised, and then he called.
How much did he raise?
It doesn't say, no.
I think, therefore, I would certainly be raising enough to make sure that if the opponent has luckily walked into a backdoor flush draw, that you're giving him bad odds to call it. So therefore, I would certainly be giving him raise enough where he's only getting odds of, say, 5-2 against or something for his flush. So if he gets it now, good luck to him, because he's paid a rotten price for it. So I think that's the price I would make it for him on the turn. And that's especially because I would look back at that and say, aha, the missing ace was the hearts. But that's hopefully an interesting angle to look at, another form of investigation. Poker hands, we investigate all the time. We look for clues all the time.
What hand are you putting them on?
Yeah, and therefore on the turn, because he still likes it all, go back and have a rethink about what he might have.
My biggest mistake tonight, not putting him on those kings or something better than me, obviously, which I blatantly should have because of the way he was betting.
And to relate it to Lyndsay, your point is to get away just from one level. So even the king 2, it's not just, what do I do with king 2? Yes, of course, king 2, 95% of the time against a raise, you're chucking it. But you now say, hang on, how much is in the middle? How much will this cost me? Have I got chips left? How good will it be if I win? All those questions went unasked. You just went king 2 pass. Wrong. You've got to look at the whole picture. And in poker, we have to look at the whole picture all the time. This is a very unfortunate hand for the trip aces. But it's a forever changing picture. And you at least should have known or said, oh, now it's more likely he could have that. I will give him the wrong price for the flush. Then if he calls and he makes that flush, good luck to him.
It's so easy when you're a new player, though, to go into the hand with blinkers on.
Yes. Oh, no, listen, it's very hard for the trip aces to get away from that. I'm just saying, I'd have make sure I'd have charged my opponent enough on the turn, that was all.
But thank you for your email, Sam. I hope that's helped you out and answered your question. If you want to send any questions through to us, we'd love to hear from you. You can text us in the studio, put the word poker at the front of your message. There it is, 84222 is the number. 84222. Or you can email the address, there it is, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. I've got an email from Barney here. There's the web address on your screen, pokernightlive.co.uk. Check out our forum there if you want to and find out lots more information about the show. But Barney's been in touch and he says, first off, a massive thanks for your presence. My game has massively improved since I've been taking in all your advice and using it to my advantage. So thanks for that, Barney. What is the best way to learn about the mathematics of the game? It's an interesting question. I hear a lot of commentators and presenters talking about how players are good with the maths, especially the Scandinavians, and use it to their advantage. Something you should know about, James. You've just got back from Sweden.
That's right.
And he says, how easy is it to learn and how much improvement in my game would I see?
Okay, the maths, let's not get too scared of the maths. The maths is important, it's all part of the game. But if we're beginners, let's not get too overawed by it, because we don't have to be maths whiz kids to be good at poker. We just need to have a general understanding of the maths. Later on, the maths we can develop, and that will help as we develop as players. The maths is very important, or more important, when we're playing money games. Because, for example, that's what I was relating to when we were talking about that hand, the trip aces, when suddenly a flush draw reared its ugly head on the turn. Now, what we look at there is, we realise that with one card to come, for if the guy has got 2 hearts, then he's got 9 outs, and the outs are the hearts, because you haven't got any hearts yourself, or there's 2 hearts on the flop, and if your opponent's got 2 hearts, that's 4 hearts, 4 from 13 cards of suit, that's 9 cards. Now, even forgetting about our cards and counting our cards as unknown, your opponent's got 2 cards, there's 4 cards on the flop, that's 6 cards, which leaves 46 cards. So then when we take 9 from 46, that means 9 cards would make the flush, and 37 cards will miss. So therefore the odds of him making the flush are just over 4 to 1, because you divide the 9 into 37, 9 fours are 36, so it's 4 1/9 to 1. So therefore we know he's over 4 to 1 to make the flush. That's the maths of it. Now, when you put the bet, if you say there was 20 in the pot and you bet 20, it would cost him 20 to call. So therefore he'd be getting 2 to 1, because there'd be 40 in the middle and he'd have to put 20 in. So the math says he'd be getting 40 for the 20, odds of 2 to 1. Well, we've just worked out that he's over 4 to 1 to make his flush. So if he called when he was only getting 2 to 1 odds, he's getting the wrong side of it. So if you could sell him this bad bargain, you'd be a good money player. So maybe you now say, hang on, I don't think he'll wash that. I'll only charge him £15. So now there's 35 in the middle, and now he's only got to put 15 in. Now he's getting more than 2 to 1. So this is the maths of the game, and this is how we extend our thinking of the game. So there's plenty of books we can look at the maths at, but basically it's a matter of counting our chances of making hands, counting our chances of missing hands, etc., etc. There's a lot more to it. This is beginner's night, so I don't particularly want to be delving into the land of implied odds and reverse implied odds at the moment. But don't be frightened by it. Just bit by bit, we'll all become better at the maths as we carry along.
But lots to take in there, isn't there? And I guess when you get used to it, it helps you be a lot more creative with your play.
It does. As I said, the maths is extra important in money play, in tournament play. I don't want to be falling in love with the maths because its situations becomes more important.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but before that, we've got Mike Lacey back on the phone to speak to us. See you soon. Well, it's time for another break, but not just yet, because we've got Mike Lacey back on the phone. He's over in Ireland, where the build-up to the Irish Open is going on over there. It's a very exciting time. Are you there, Mike?
I'm here, Lyndsay, I'm here.
And of course, you're playing in the tournament yourself.
I am.
And you went into a satellite, but didn't quite get through on the satellite, so you've had to buy into the tournament.
No, I didn't actually have time to play any satellites because I was running the live one for the sponsor. So
right.
I couldn't actually play any, so that's why I bought it. Not
so you've had to buy in.
Oh, that's good though. That means you're not sort of feeling depressed, or you're not stale from too many satellites. You're going to be up and ready to rumble there, I think.
I will be, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Full of energy.
Mike, I wish you all the best, and so does Lyndsay in this big tourney. But just in case those fickle gods of poker go against you again,
yes,
and you were going to have a flutter, who would you be tipping in this Grand National of poker?
Well, I think I'd like to have a flutter on somebody who has some connection to Ireland and is a good poker player as well. My money would probably go on a couple of players. One of them would be Julian Few.
Irish?
He actually was sold to Ireland during the World Series for half a pint of Guinness. TK let him go. But he did live over here for quite a while, and his brother still lives over here. But he's a great player. I've had the pleasure of playing with him a few times before. And even if he's down to just a few chips, suddenly you'll go back to his table and he's got a massive stack in front of him.
I'll tell you what, and what a lovely guy as well.
Oh, he is. And in fact, I might try and swap a percentage with him when he comes over.
Could be a good move.
Well, the Irish look seems to be on top form this year, because the Irish did brilliantly at Cheltenham and at the Grand National, so maybe that's a good sign.
Yeah, and most of the entries will be Irish anyway. Of the Irish players, there's a few young players I talked about a couple of weeks ago. One of them being David O'Callaghan, but we've also got Mark McMahon, and there's a young chap called Ollie Boyce who's got his ticket now. He won the World Speed Poker Open. But I would put some money on David O'Callaghan, definitely. He's going to be a big star.
Right.
And then there's the old favourites. Alan Betson seems to love the Irish Open. He was second last year. And he was in Monte Carlo there. I was chatting to him there, and he loves it. It's one of the only live tournaments he plays. He had a good result in Amsterdam a few months ago. And as long as his frame of mind is right, then he's definitely one that could go all the way as well. He's another player who can have a small stack of chips 1 minute and the next minute he's the chip leader. So,
have you got enough bottles there for him? Because I wouldn't want him to see him go thirsty.
No, I'm sure Alan will make sure he's got a table next to the bar, but it never affects his play. He's a superb player.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't seem to, but he strikes fear into the table, doesn't he?
He does, and it's not just through his sheer aggression. At the World Series, he managed to lay down the top full house to a guy because he thought he had quads, and he was shown quads in the World Series main event. So he's also capable of putting a hand down as well if necessary.
That's stunning play, isn't it?
It is. I don't think I could ever do that. So, but there are a few other players locally that people may not have heard of that will come through. Peter Roche is another one. He's a very aggressive player. If he gathers chips, then he'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, come on, be fair. What about the English?
Mickey Wernick is still on form. I believe he made another final table last week. And he obviously is the European Player of the Year from last year. And he's either at the final table or out early, I would say, with Mickey.
I'll tell you what, he's become Mr. Consistency, hasn't he?
He is, and he's another gentleman to boot as well. I spent a while with him in Monte Carlo at the EPT there, chatting away to him, and he's a gentleman, but he's a great player as well.
He's been through the hard school of knocks, says Mickey. I've known him for many a long time, and he's a great guy. I'll tell you what, he's matured with age, like a good wine. He's become a better player.
Yeah, he just seemed to spring onto the poker scene to me, being over here. I hadn't really heard of him, and then suddenly last year his name was everywhere. So he's got a very good chance. And there's another guy who's just starting to make final tables over in England, and I think he made one in Estonia, is Matt Tyler. Now, I've never met him, but I've heard he's a very good player.
We'll be looking out for him. And Mike, best of luck in the tournament. Thank you so much for talking to us. It's been really nice. We're going to have to take a short break now, but thanks a lot, Mike, and we hope you do well. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. It's Lyndsay and James Browning with you till 2. Been watching some good poker so far, some cash games, sit and goes, also an MTT. We will be seeing the final table of that MTT as well. Thank you for all your emails and texts so far. If you'd like to send a question through to us, as always, we're live and fully interactive. It's your show, so whatever you want to ask, get them coming through to us. Just text us. Put the word poker at the front of your message and send those through to 84222, 84222, or you can email poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Get the questions coming through. We've had some good stuff so far, learned a lot from the Beautiful Centre tournament, lots of things to take away and improve from next time.
And I was speaking to Lyndsay Horne in the break, and she said that she's learnt a lot tonight.
I have, definitely. Hope the viewers have too. Right, we should get to the MTT.
Yes, I love the final stage of that.
It's the final table we've got for you. Special MTT tonight because it's our PNL Private Members League. It was $5 to buy in, a rebuy tournament for the first hour at $2.50, and then an add-on at the end of the first hour. And here it is.
Can you imagine the chat box if we had a PMT private tournament? That'd be fun.
Oh, it would have been interesting. Yeah, there would have been some mud thrown, I think.
Well, final table time.
Yeah, I've got Jugglebug there, chip leader. And the blind's 2,000, 4,000 now. Serious stuff when the blinds are that high.
There's Hoik there. We saw him suffer a rebuy early on, but he's there at the final table. Hoik from Wallsend.
Wallsend.
Are we the lads?
Hi, good results at the weekend, James.
Beat the Borough.
We did, good results.
But I'll tell you what, the country were raving over the Borough's performance in the UEFA Cup.
Yeah, what a comeback.
What a comeback. Magnificent performance from Viduka and Hasselbank.
4-1, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah,
They needed,
Macaroni as well, I think. What a result. Who could have thought they could come back from...
Brilliant.
Amazing.
They weren't good enough to beat the Toon.
No.
Thank goodness.
Amiobi scored one of his rare goals.
Who? Shola I'm a nobody.
And the other one was an own goal, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, the Borough have got a bad record against us.
That's what we like to see.
Hoofy, the power of the button, took the chips.
Ace 10 for Jugglebug.
Jugglebug
in middle position. What will he do? He's got 10,000. He's got lots of chips, so he doesn't need to do anything drastic at this stage. And he's quite happy with that, I think, up to 53,000. Don't forget on PNL, Sunday nights, really exciting stuff happening on a Sunday night. It's a Dream Poker Night, and we're showing Poker Bowl qualifiers. The qualifiers and semi-finals are happening on dreampoker.com every Sunday at 8 o'clock. The qualifiers, it's $10 to buy in, that's a rebuy. Semi-final is going to be a freeze out, and then we'll confirm the final for you later. That's going to be filmed in the Poker Bowl studio, so it's absolutely brilliant. Great fun. We're going to, you can find all the details about what we're going to be televising, where it's happening at the forum, and already loads of the PNL viewers have already said they're going to be taking part, so that's brilliant. And it'll be a real test for all the PNL players.
It will be. It'll be great to see some of our regular PNLers there.
And hopefully meet some of them face to face.
Performing on the telly.
So that's something to look forward to. That's every Sunday from 8 o'clock on PNL. So we got a couple of people in a dangerous position there. Moose Mick, that's exactly the hand that he wanted. He's down to 13,000 chips. And there they go in with the King Queen suited. That's what he was waiting for. Might get a call off Jugglebug, maybe.
Well, he doesn't want one. Oh, but he got it. And that's not good shape for him.
No.
And King Queen bites the dust.
He had to push in there though, didn't he? Didn't really?
Yes, see the blinds were big. 4,000 big blind. He had what looked a respectable hand. There's a chance that his opponent's passed. Altogether, it sort of justified his play. And this hand doesn't need any justification. King Kong made it 4 times a big blind. One wouldn't mind a bit of action with that one, but doesn't get it.
King Kong again. What's up? What's up? And he's on the big blind, so let's see what happens now. Hoofy ace 2. And a what's up's all in. What's Hoofy going to do? Knowing Hoofy, I think he'll probably pass with that ace 2. Yeah, and he does. Wise move, Hoofy.
And Lyndsay reading the players there.
Shame I didn't do that earlier on.
Hoofy on the button, ace 6. Yep, ooh, and that's it. That's the big question. And we'll take down 6,000. And look at that, that 6,000 is 25% of his stack. So increases his stack by 25%, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't want to get clever with that hand, just take that down.
Yeah.
It's another time you're not showing your cards. And the less time you go to the showdown, the easier it is to win a tournament. Well, Jim Boyd there. It's his big blind next. He says, listen, I'm going to try now. And I think that's good. I think that's good. It's quite a big question. He's going to have to put 11,000 in there, or 11,425 to call it. He might get him to pass.
He's having a good think.
He doesn't like it, does he? And there you go. He was second in chip, or third in chips, and he didn't want to call it. There we go. The power of the bet.
Yeah.
What did he have?
Aggression.
Yeah, and what did he have when he bet?
Position.
And what's the thing we're looking for? Oh gosh, you've been come on, you've been scintillating. You've been scintillating all night. When you bet, you have something in your pocket. What is it? It's called FE. It's late. Thinking, come on.
Tell me, explain what you're asking of me.
When you're betting, there's something you have in your pocket, in your power.
Fold equity.
That's what I was looking for.
You can win by making everyone fold.
Exactly, and that's what Jim Boyd had. He had fold equity. So you have the fold equity, the chance that everyone will pass. Then, if it all goes wrong and they call, you've got the percentage chance that hand has.
Yeah.
So therefore, say the hand like 10-6 is against Queen Jack. He's probably only a 36% chance, the 10-6. But what percentage chance, before we get to the showdown, was there that everyone would pass?
Right.
Well, let's say there was 20% chance. So he's got 20% chance that he wins.
Yeah.
Now, of the remaining 80% chance, he's got 36% chance of 80%.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? So therefore, he's heading towards 60% chance of winning
by pushing.
Right.
Although he's an underdog with the hand, when you add in that percentage of people all passing, that's added into the whole package, and what will happen over 100 times or 1,000 times?
And that's the fold equity.
Yes, because he's got fold equity. How's that?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Perfect sense.
Right. So now, when you look at the table, and when I say sometimes, this is a case for playing position rather than cards, you've heard me say that,
Yeah.
because the later you're in position, what increases?
The fold equity, the chance of making people fold.
Exactly, that increases. So the further around the table we are, the bigger chance that people pass. So therefore that percentage passes. Now we can make an estimate about what sort of hands will people call me with. Then we say, what sort of hands will that person with that many chips call me with?
Right.
And what sort of percentage will that person call me with that many chips?
Yeah.
Now we look at all the different characters, and now we estimate the different chances, and then we have a good idea of what chance people will pass will be.
There's so much to do with every decision is just loaded, isn't it?
But do you like...
I do like it, and I do understand.
Right,
and
but do you see where I'm getting from?
Yeah, exactly. No, I do.
But you see how it all fits together? Now all together, by talking there, we've fitted in fold equity, and we've now watched how this percentage chance of people passing, it's difficult to say this time, right? People passing increases as our position gets
the
better.
later you are, yeah.
So it's all logical, isn't it? Then we throw into the mixing pot, is this person desperate? Oh, they'll call anyway. Is my fold equity good? Not if they're desperate. No. Exactly. So, where is our fold equity? Here's another question for you now. Lyndsay, you'll start off for 10. What sort of stacked person is a good person to get to pass?
High stack.
Is it A, high stack, B, average stack, or C, small stack?
I probably would have said more average stack, because a high stack might think, well, I've got plenty of chips, I might as well have a look.
Right.
And a short stack just won't want to get involved.
Oh, you said the short stack won't want to get involved? What about the middle stack?
Will fold.
Right. The high stack, I like that. You said he's got enough chips that he might say,
call.
oh, I can afford to call anyway.
Yeah.
The average stack says I'm on average. Ooh, if I call that, I'm well below average. He's not so keen to call.
Right.
Because he says, I'm just lolling around here, but I can't really afford to let chips disappear because I'm struggling to keep average. The small stack, you don't know where they are. They might say, oh, I'm so desperate, I'll call anyway.
Right.
They aren't such a prime candidate for passing, because he says, listen, it's my big blind next anyway, I've got a bit of a hand, okay, I'll call.
I might as well.
So the sort of hand you'll call with, the more hands he'll call with because he's desperate.
Right.
He'll call out of desperation, as we saw Lyndsay Horne call before with a 9-7 offsuit.
Yeah.
Out of desperation. Were you a small stack?
Yeah.
You were, because you had no chance. You were desperate.
Yeah.
So therefore, you will call more than the average stack.
Right. And
so now, when we're looking at our fold equity, we're assessing our opponents. And we say, what are you? Big stack, average stack, small stack. So already we find a way to look for more clues. Yeah. Are you learning?
I am learning a lot tonight, actually.
Well, that's good.
A lot tonight.
Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, I'm sorry about it, we better watch this final. Down to 4 here, but we did have some important points there to touch on. I hope that's helped our viewers back home, especially some of our newer players. We've got 4 regular players here. Hoofy, Jugglebug, Hoik, and What's Pup. And the blinds are 4,000, 8,000. Each round is going to cost us 12,000. So it's getting quite speedy here.
Hoofy's gone all in. I think he's going to get called.
He will get called here. He's still got chips. He's going to have 6,000 left. Maybe not. No, he did call eventually. Oh, 14,000 left. Yes, he's still a bit left there. But he's gone. He's gone to the king there. But he's still got 14,000. So he's gone from comfortable to struggling. And that's going to go all in with that 10 king. In it pops, I would imagine. Should do.
He can't not now, can he?
What's pop pushes? Hoyk's got a call. Why? Because it was such a small price for him to pay. Getting big odds. And there you go.
Sixes.
Pair of sixes was good enough. Beat the 10 king. 6 jack was about was underdog against the 10 king, hovering around about the 36%. But there we go. He was getting big odds to call. Still had plenty of chips, and there we go. Big stack. Can't get big stacks to pass for some.
No. And there we go. We've lost.
And now it's very
cup.
evenly balanced, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah.
And action's quite fast now, because if we look at the number of big blinds they've got, not too many.
Around 10 times average.
And Hoyk there, I think he'll put that down. He does so, and I think correctly. Okay, 310. No thanks. No thanks eventually.
Hopefully no thanks. Yep, there we go. Jugglebug puts that down as well.
Jugglebug juggles with the figures, decides they don't compute, I don't want to play. He didn't know his opponent only had 7 deuce. He will now, and made it 16. 4 times the big blind. Oh no, sorry, twice the big blind. He's just gone up, sorry, it's 4-8, beg your pardon, I'm forgetting about 4-8. He's twice the big blind, 8 with 8, flat call. That was a big hand at that stage. I'd have still been quite happy to take the blinds even though, and I'd have probably made it 3 times the big blind just to make sure I got them. I don't particularly want to be giving someone value to call. Ace King's not a made hand, it's still just a drawing hand.
Needs to hit
so I wouldn't be too tricky with it.
He's all in now.
There he is. He's pinged his ace. Ace jack he had. Give him top pair. And Hoyk's in trouble. 25,000.
And isn't Jugglebug getting
and
the
there
cards?
he goes. Good move from Hoyk there. 10-9. He decided he'd capture the extra bit of money in there. He's got a pair of 9s. And lovely. Back in it. He saw the opportunity. The window of opportunity opened, and Hoyk pushed his chips. And he's just taken down the blinds free of charge. How wonderful. He's now gone back into second place. Jugglebug out in front with 137,000. Hoofy surrenders. Hoyk here. Not bad. Queen 10. Yes, he's pushed again, and he's fearless here, Hoyk. Not sitting back. Good aggressive play. Blinds here very high. Not so much play. You have to play fast. Hoyk there, he's decided to let that one go. He'd love to see Hoofy and Jugglebug get it on, because then he could slide up to second place with no risk if Hoofy got knocked out. Yeah. And that's the worst result. Jugglebug passed and let Hoofy have the chips. Hoyk's groaning audibly there. Jugglebug must like this.
He's getting some good cards at this crucial stage,
short-handed, and he's covered them so much, he just has to set them in. And he's put in enough to set Hoofy in and not Hoyk. That's quite amusing. Put 48. It's the same thing. We know the rest will go in regardless in this case. And he's taking those chips down. Big stack here, exerting pressure on the 2 smaller stacks. He's got another hand now, Lyndsay. Jack 10 suited. But Hoyk's got the ace, and this is interesting. It's 50,000 for him to call. 70, he's getting 7 to 5 odds. Well, a decision to make. He could put this down. He's got to believe he's against at least an ace. No, he didn't. I would have put that down myself. I don't want to be calling with Jack 10. I could be betting with Jack 10.
Yeah.
Where I've got some.
When you've got the position.
When I've got.
Fold equity.
Yes, it's going to get drilled into your head, Lyndsay. You're going to walk away with fold equity in your head.
I've never had that explained to me before.
Oh, right. Has it helped?
Yes, definitely. It's something I've never really thought about.
Okay, that's good. And did you like the way of looking at how it changes with our different characters?
It's going to be completely different in each individual case. It's something that you're always going to have to look for and work out.
Also, you've enjoyed Poker Night Live tonight?
I have. I've learnt a lot tonight, big time.
Brilliant. Hoofy there. He's smashed it in there with a reasonable hand. Hoik, 8 Jack. He's got 128,000. He's our new chip leader.
He's certainly done
Came
well.
back from 25,000, didn't he?
With pure aggression, which is what you need.
He picked the moment, didn't he, with his 9-10. And Hoofy's asked the question now. This is interesting. Again, I would put this down. The Jack here, well done. And that's the difference, because Jugglebug called with that Jack 10. The Jack there, you can well imagine there's a Queen, a King and Ace. It's for a lot of money. You'd be doubling Hoofy up, making him chip leader. Why not keep him down where he is and fight him when you're a bit stronger? Yeah. You don't just have to double him up. It doesn't just have to be non-stop aggression. Always be looking at the forever changing picture of the tournament. And that's what Hoik did there, and I like that. So we've seen him be aggressive, we've seen him be selective. So full marks to Hoik. This is not a Geordie bias, by the way.
No, well, he could have let Hoofy take over the chip lead there. He could have covered the bet, but there was just no point. He's
I think
his position of strength.
Yes, and he'll be asking them the questions rather than just calling, because he's still got them both covered. Yeah. And there we go. I mean, if nothing happens here, if he just makes up the small blind, I know he's asked the question, and he's called with an ace there, and that's not so bad. He can, he's made the straight. Yeah. I don't blame him calling with an ace, because there he can well believe that he could be winning, and he was winning, because the other guy could be desperate, but he was winning. Yeah. But there's a big difference between calling with an ace and calling with a Jack 10 in that situation, because heads up, you can well believe that you're winning. But you didn't expect to win that way, and he made a straight. But look at that, he's well chipped up, and he's got King 10. He thinks it's wonderful. He raises, but little does he know, he's out-kicked. It's against Jack, King Jack. Well, Hoik here, he commits now. Oh my goodness, 7-4-8. And there we go, and Jugglebug is right back in the game now. It's neck and neck here in the final of the private tourney here. And Jugglebug's recaptured the lead.
Makes the heads up more interesting now after that hand.
Does. Blind's still at 4-8, so we've got a bit more play now. As a player disappears, the chips are now spread between two players. Obviously creates more play, and it's a big hand for Jugglebug. Is he finding hands at the right time? He's made it 40,000, but Hoik passes. Again, being selective at the right time. And 4 King. It'll be interesting to see what Hoik does here. He's got high cards rule, heads up. He's made it 3 times the big blind. He's made it 24,000. Well done, Jugglebug. Puts it down. These two playing well at the moment. Queen Deuce puts it away. And I must admit, I'm not keen on any hand with a deuce in it myself. It's difficult heads up. There's never any really juicy situation unless you hit a deuce when you've got the deuce kicker.
Oh, Jugglebug's got the straight draw.
And Hoik's got the trips. And straight draw. And takes it to 148. Jugglebug got to make a move here, I think. Ace 2 suited. Yep, there he does it. Very nice. Hoik will put it down. I think Hoik will put it down. I've been watching him. I feel it. Am I right?
He's getting the vibes.
I've got the vibes. You're putting it down, Hoik.
Oh, he made you sweat.
He did, yes. I felt I knew pretty certain he was putting that king down. We've seen him betting with a king. I just felt he was going to put it down as a caller, though, and that's what he did. He just didn't think he wanted to put his tournament on that hand. It wasn't strong enough. But I think he'll like that ace. But Jugglebug might ask the question here, and he does. Quite a stuffed question. But I wonder if Hoik thinks he can get him off it. Yes, he does, and he's re-raising, but he doesn't get him off it. And this is basically for the tournament.
And there we go, and Hoik has got it. And I'm really quite impressed by Hoik there. He came back from 25,000. Actually, well played to both of you. Jugglebug and Hoik both played very, very well indeed. I like that from Hoik. He was selective when he had to be selective. We saw him make moves when he felt he had to make them, and quite a few times there we saw he took a decision, said, hang on, don't have to be pushing all the time. I don't want to call with his hand and double you up and give you the chip lead. I can find a better hand to be pushing with myself. Jugglebug, I think, made the one little error which cost him. I think he didn't think enough on a hand when he had the Jack 10. He just called, which is a bit automatic. Not such a good calling hand.
Because he was big chip leader at that point, wasn't he?
But the trouble, it was quite a big pot, and it was a meaningful pot in the end. He could have passed it. His opponent wouldn't have been helped at all, just a small amount. You still have to have, although aggression rules, although it's great to be aggressive, please mix into the melting pot some selectivity at times. Be looking to see the overall situation of the tournament. Am I just handing him the chip lead? Is this making life easy for him? Can I actually hope to find a better situation? Is it possible I can get to pass with nothing the next time by saving my chips for that? All this has to be considered. So anyway, good poker to watch. Really enjoyed it.
Great heads up.
Well done to both of you.
And great tournament. Well done to everyone who played in that tournament. It's PNL Private Members League. All the details on the website, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. I've got an email from What's Pup, who was in the MTT. And he says, another great show, well done to everyone in the tournament. Again, another outdraw, does the pup. Oh well, that's poker. No complaints, as I got my chips in with the best and was happy with my play throughout the tournament. Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong when he pushed in, did he? Making the final table 2 nights in a row, Saturday and tonight. I couldn't play Sunday, which answers Casper's comments on Saturday's show that I am no pushover at this game. And he says, good night from the pup. My bark is worse than my bite. Grrr. Thank you for your email, What's Pup. Yeah, brilliant, making the final table 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, very good. Very good. We hope to see you reach some more finals, What's Pup. Thanks for the email. Yeah, good stuff. We're here till 2, so if you want to get your questions through to us, put the word poker and text 84222. Put the word poker on your message, 84222. There it is. Or you can email them as well. Anything at all. It's amateur night, so you can ask any questions. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Hopefully get some good questions before the end of the show, but we're going to have a look at a cash game now. Okie doke. Off we go. Okay, What's Pup, just for you as a special, for your nice little email, to our special guest, Deputy Dog. Okay, Muskie, you pesky Robin. I'll beat you up. What's up, pup? That's very good. Oh, James, you're a man of many talents. Full of surprises. Yeah, that surprised me this time of night. You're getting the second wind. So a 50-cent $1 cash game. Still snap it, still there. What a waster. Gold snake. And look at Marty Doc, he's well. Yeah, Marty Doc doing well. I'll tell you what, there's been obviously a lively cash game here because the money's been moving around this table. And to have $376 in a 100 maximum buy-in, this is great. Yeah. You're getting on there to quadruple your stack nearly. Lots of money floating around this table. Yeah, and gold snake there. 280, very good. Snap it, still probably in the land of profit. 10-4-3. No help on the river, on the turn rather. Still no help. No help on the river. The problem is tonight, you see, you might have trouble sleeping because you're going to be having lots and lots of poker thoughts. I have.
My head's spinning, James.
Your head's going to be buzzing with poker. It'll be and you'll be looking. People will be dealing your hands, and you'll be looking at
them.
It's
all these different things.
I've got to now evaluate. I've got to look how many chips I've got.
Each hand, I have to look at everything, the full equity. I have to look at the size of the pot. I have to think, what's he got when he's coming back over the top of me?
You've got to make notes on the
players. Got to make notes of this, and it's all the things to consider during each hand, and not to wear blinkers and just look at my cards. That's the main thing I've learned tonight. I've got to be more alert and think about all these other factors.
And the plus point is, at the end of the day, you'll enjoy playing even more.
Yes.
Because it'll be far more satisfying. It's like you've solved a puzzle.
And that's the thing, I don't mind losing a pot if I know I've done everything right.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
But once you start piecing it all together and start solving these puzzles and say, yes, I knew you were on that hand.
It's more
because
rewarding.
You were thinking about it. You were working out what the pattern of the betting meant. What position? What would he be trying to do there? Why would he be trying to do it? Yes, I know what you've got. Eureka! I've solved it. And you'll feel great.
No, it's not just financially rewarding.
No,
it's an achievement.
That's right. It's satisfying when you know you've played a hand well and you've cracked the code.
Look at this. Queens, ace, king, and ace, jack.
Well, this is interesting for Lalok here. Well, in fact, it's not interesting for him at all. He's only got $12 left and it's all going in. He's hit top pair. He's not thinking. Well, I mean, he is thinking. He has no choice. He's in there with top pair. He's unlucky. He's walked against the over pair. The ace-king, I don't know how much the ace-king had in front of him when he called.
I'm not sure. He must have had...
He shouldn't have had. He shouldn't have had much. Oh, look at this ace-king against aces. Oh, let's see how this unfolds. Now, Snap It won't play. Go Snake. Now, Marty Doc, is he going to raise? Probably. Let's see what he makes it. He makes it $4. Now, X here could just call. Very cute play. Very nice. He's disguised his hand. So he's heads up and he's been deceptive. He should not re-raise here now. He doesn't again. His great play by Aix. He gave Marty Doc the chance to try and bet. He'd got the ace of hearts in his hand, so he thinks it's unlikely that Marty Doc was on the flush draw anyway.
Yes.
Now he's put the bet in because it's a dangerous flop, isn't it?
It is.
Because a 6 would give a straight, a heart would give a flush if the guy had it. So he's now charged the guy. I don't know how Marty Doc called the bet, however. What was he calling with? He must have thought Aix was just stealing. And he's called that as well. My goodness me. Well, yes, he thought Aix was just stealing, and he called with nothing. Well, basically ace high.
Yeah, ace high.
Well played by Aix. What did you like best about his play?
He was sneaky, but in a good way. He misrepresented his hand, didn't he?
Yes, that's perfect. You've hit the nail on the head. Fantastic. He was sneaky in a good way, and I like the way he described that. Sneaky in a good way.
Sneaky but not sly. He's clever. Clever
yes,
sneaky.
Deceptive. Yes. Because he just called the raise, and he still laid low and didn't reveal.
Yes.
Did he know where he was?
I think so.
Of course he did.
Because he was asking the questions.
He was lying low, but he knew where he was. He knew where he was. He knew that he left the door open for his opponent to fire a continuation bet, because he thought, if I bet, I'm not going to be getting him.
Especially when Marty's checking on
he was.
The turn and the river. No, good play. Nice cards as well.
Of course, they always help.
Well, King 10 for Marty Doc now. Puts in 3.
Aix just calls with 9-7. What a waster, just called as well. And the small blind should just make it up, which he does by Snap It. He's getting good value there. There's $3.50 in the middle when he called. He was getting 7-1 to call with his pair of 2s. A hand where you know where you are. If he'd clicked the 2 on the flop, he certainly would have known where he was, had the potential to win a big pot, and then very easy hand to get away from. No way would he call it. There's 8-10 queen. There's possible straight, there's a flush draw, and there's 3 overcards. A pair of 2s doesn't need any more warnings to get away than that.
All the signs were there.
They were. What a waster. No, no, no. Do you make up the small blind?
I wouldn't have done.
No, I think you're right not to. Out of position, difficult hand. Depends on, again, what your opponent is like. If your opponent is very passive, this opponent tends to bet. What a waster. Just calls, I like that. Again, playing a small pair as a drawing hand. What do I mean by that? I mean that he's hoping that he can get all the way around without a raise, then he hopes he can click a 3 on the flop.
That's
now
nice.
He hopes quite a few people just call the 3. Then he can call the 2 to make up the call. But he wants company. There's one. He wants this one to call as well. He does. Now he can call. Great value for the 3s now. Because he's got company.
What we learned earlier on.
Because yes, that was like the Queen 10 you had. But the reason is, if he now connects his 3 and there's 3 other opponents, there's more chance that someone's going to have something to fight him with.
Yes.
Because when you've got a small pair, 1, you have to hit your pair. The odds of that are about 7 to 1 on the flop to hit it. And 2, you want to hit your trips rather. Hit your pair and make into trips.
Yes.
You want to hit your trips and have someone who wants to fight you and pay you.
Yeah.
If there's more people there, it's more likely that someone will be there to fight and pay you, because they hopefully would have connected with the other bit of the flop.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, when you've hit your trips, you've taken up one of those cards, because one of them is going to be a 3. So you've only left 2 cards for your opponents to connect with.
Right.
So that's why you need more people there to increase the chances of them connecting with those other 2 cards.
And then they'll pay you.
Hopefully they'll pay you. That's the principle. So therefore we're looking for value. Are we getting value? Are we likely to get implied value, because people will pay me if I connect? We're looking at the whole package again. So again we get this whole package in our heads so we can understand it, understand what's going on.
And it's getting to the point where you're doing that every hand, isn't it?
Of course you are. In fact, you should be doing it more than every hand you're playing. You should be doing it in hands you're watching.
Yeah.
You should be learning.
What has he got? What's he got?
And then you'll find, hang on, this guy he doesn't care what the odds are he's getting for his flush. Oh my goodness, I can charge him anything.
And then next time you
can charge him to, never mind trying to give him a small, I'll charge him more, he still calls. He doesn't care. So now you learn. So you learn what pain threshold your customers have.
Yes. Puts in the raise with the ace-9.
Yep, likely to be winning against a blind hand. And fine, took down the blinds. You say, oh, hang on, one was his. It doesn't matter. Once that blind's in the middle, it's not yours. It's lying in the middle. You've then got, if you want to get it, you've got to win it back. So when you win that, you do count the blind that was yours, because it wasn't. So he won 75 cents there.
Yeah.
He didn't win 50. He won 75, because if he hadn't done it, his money was left in the middle.
He was paying that in the pot anyway,
exactly.
Regardless of whether he played.
And that's how we must think about our bets. Once they're in the middle, they're not ours anymore.
We've got to win them.
They're not ours. It's the pot's money, and now we have to win them. Exactly right. King, Queen, late position, no raise, raised it up. So that's good, because King, Queen rules in the land of the unraised pot. And yet again it is, because it's hit a queen here, top pair. It's 2 10s. He's only hoping. There's no 10 there for Marty. He asked the question. No answer. Thank goodness he took the chips. Mitzi. Finley, late position on the button, raises with ace deuce. Is actually in bad shape because he's only got 1 overcard to the pair of 5s. But the pair of 5s didn't like the flop because there were 3 overcards. That's why small pairs are difficult to play. So Finley here, taken a long time, however, but is now bet 425, and I think that long delay actually.
If he'd done that quicker, he would have said, "Look, so. I've got a queen."
But now there's 5 overcards, and now when he clammed up, he got frightened himself. If he'd fired again, he'd have won it. But that it's a bit unfair. We can see that he was against a small pair. But I think that delay didn't help him. And I think if he was going to do a continuation bet, which he did do, I think he probably should have whacked it out just a little bit quicker.
He needed the speed to show confidence.
Yeah, not massively quicker, just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
It just looked like sort of more measured. And Marty puts that down. Mitzi takes that. Mitzi, small blind with K9. Raises up to $4. What a waster. Jack 5. Motown. Jackson 5. Puts it down. $4-6-9, and Snap It has got a flush draw and the top pair. What a Waster has got the top pair and a straight draw, middle pin, and Gold Snake has got a backdoor flush draw and the middle pair. Snap It quite correctly raises What a Waster. What a Waster with top pair. Be interesting to see what he does here. And he just calls it. Well, now it's difficult for him now, but the only thing is, it gives him, he's still got that straight draw, but Snap It takes it down. Well, adventurous play from a 2-7 makes it... Oh, what happened there?
He just put in 150,
That's
didn't
not possible. I missed that. Sorry, I was looking at an email. I missed that. Don't understand that.
It said 150, didn't it?
You must have posted... Oh, that was weird. Well, pair of sixes for Snap It. Takes it with a pair of sixes. Well, that's a better hand. Big slicks suited. How much are you making it, Lyndsay?
4.
4 from Lyndsay, 5 from Aches. 4-8, what are you doing?
Passing.
Jack 7.
Passing.
Gold Snake.
Passing.
Yeah,
But he's,
yeah, I think you should.
he's playing.
Not a good calling hand, out of position. What do you want to do?
Now he's in
What a
trouble.
hand now. Top pair for Aches and the nut flush draw. How sweet. There's a 10, a middle pin straight for Gold Snake. Not much to hope for. Oh, he's called. Oh my goodness me. What did he call for the middle pin? Unbelievable. He must have thought that Aches had nothing. Wow, loose call again. Well, obviously didn't put Aches, thought Aches was trying it on, I think.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Nice. Cards for Finley.
Yes, American Airlines.
Oh, Aches.
What are you doing? How much? Come on.
A re-raise now. 15.
Price 15. Flat raise from Finley, 15 from Lyndsay. Oh, what a dream. And Aches has hit the ace, bets 19. What are you doing?
All in.
Oh, I liked what he did. He kept it subtle there. Bet against his opponent having a possible flush. Deceptive. I think there's a good chance he might... oh, look at that. It's worked. He's wrong-footed him. He wouldn't like the last card if he hadn't seen his opponents, but there you go. It wasn't a diamond in his hand. And Finley there, just by calling there, wrong-footed Aches, who actually pushed the money in for him. He didn't have to find a way to get it. So nice deceptive play there from Finley. I think good money play there. That was good cash play. I think in a tournament, one would not have played it so trickily. One maybe would have protected against a possible flush or whatever.
But good cash play there. Very deceptive. And the reason he was able to do it was two things. Come on.
He was sure he was in front.
Brilliant.
And he had position.
Oh, Lyndsay, I'm so proud. You're top of the class.
Way!
Exactly right. Brilliant. I'm really pleased. That's excellent.
But
he was sure where he was,
confident.
and he had position. And you paused, and you thought out that situation, and tell me this is truth. You're seeing this game clearer now than you were before.
Definitely. I feel like
Have you had the cataracts taken from your eyes?
I've come along leaps and bounds tonight, I think, James. But you do explain things very well.
Okay,
because you don't say it too quickly and it all goes, ooh, you actually do it stage by stage, which is the way I need to be taught, I think.
Well, I think it's good, hopefully it's good for everyone. Okay, well, that was some good stuff in that cash game. I enjoyed that. I think you've got a juicy email there, haven't you?
Yes, from Hoik, who's been playing in, played in my game and also played in the MTT, the Private Members League. And he says, hi, Lyndsay and James and Deputy Dog. Hoik, yeah, you guys have a great rapport together on TV, and I think you talk very well about the game. Oh, I think that's directed at you, James. You haven't been drinking, have you? I wish we had. I'm relatively new at poker, about 6 months, and I'm learning all the time. James, you describe it very clearly, so keep up the good work. Just what I said before.
Thank you.
He says, I was playing in the PNL MTT tonight, and I struggled a little to get used to the different style of play with the rebuy tournament. Everyone seems a lot looser. I stayed as tight as I could, loosening up when I had to, but laying down ace-king pre-flop at times when I didn't want to commit to the stack. You might have noticed at times I took a while to decide to fold. That's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think it's a good idea not to rush your play for important decisions, so I was being disciplined. Secondly, by making the other guy, who was heads up, sweat a bit, you might think twice about an all-in bet the next time. I'm not just automatically folding to a big bet. A quick question, I don't play many cash games as I find that I tend to be in single table tournament mode and don't play very well. I'd like to play cash games, but I'm wondering if you've got any tips from switching from sit and goes and MTTs to a cash game. If we ignore bankrolls for a moment and consider I may be an average player, what sort of level game do you think I should play? I've tried a few from 10 cents, 20 cents to 25, 50 and have been fairly average in most of them. Essentially, I'd like to know which tables I'm more likely to find players who are worse than me. I do look for tables where nobody has a significantly bigger stack than the maximum buy-in, as this puts me at a chip disadvantage and also suggests that the player is pretty good. However, it also suggests the table has had some loose players. I realise it's not an easy question to answer, but very grateful for your advice. And he says, away the lads. Dave, who was previously from Wallsend, but is now in Edinburgh.
Right, thanks very much for that email. Very, very nice of you, and enjoyed your comments, and I'm glad you're enjoying the show. I'm afraid to say I've got to ignore a little bit what you said, and that is we can't ignore bankroll. If I'm going to advise you what game to play in, that has to be part of it. And I want you to be able to play in a game, first of all, where you can buy in for the maximum, and basically your bankroll should be able to have 16 of those buy-ins at least. And then you're comfortable to play and play proper poker. Now, going to the money game from playing sit and goes and tournaments, to start with, I would just advise you to really be very selective. That's a choice you have in money games because the blinds don't go up. So therefore you can be selective. Be selective with what hands you play and find situations where you really know where you are. And now, in a situation where you really know where you are, find a way to get all your chips in that pot one way or another. I.e., as we've seen tonight, by being deceptive or whatever, but find a way to get all your money in and commit those chips and still have enough money if it goes wrong to keep on buying in again for the next time and keep on playing. I hope that helps.
I hope so, but pretty impressive play from Hoik, I think, if he's only been playing for 6 months.
Oh, very good, yes. I like the way you're making moves. I think you're doing very well, and I did comment on your selectivity in passing, and I thought that was very good.
But a lot to ponder tonight. A lot to go home and think about. Learned a lot. So thank you, James.
Good.
I hope it's been
Thank you, Lyndsay. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, as always. And I hope it's been good for you too. Tomorrow night on Poker Night Live, it's Stand Poker MTT. $10 buy-in for that, so hopefully some good
James
play there. You're on again tomorrow, back from 10. But thank you so much for watching, for all your emails and texts. From James and me, good night.
Good night.